Yes, we're going live.
Carl Wiggins, like, wow. What?
Yes, it's live. It's going live now.
Oh, we're live right now. Okay, hold on.
Right?
Let me clarify.
Going live only for the superstar.
There you go. I'm sipping on this is not beer. Okay, just want to make sure y'all know.
Hey,
looks like I'm talking,
you are grown. You can drink anything you want to. Right. You are a grown man now. You are all of 25. What? Everybody 25, right?
Yeah.
Except for D, 20. That's right. D is 26. And Sean is 27. So we just got 26. Oh, you 20? Okay. All right. I'm okay.
Yeah.
All you youngins in here.
Y'all forgive me if I move around a lot. I'm trying to find a good spot to where the light isn't blasting so much off my forehead so that
oh man, it's okay.
At the window, so I'm like,
right up here.
Yeah, so
we got 9 a.m., 11 a.m. What time is it, Kevin? Oh, where you? You're 12 noon?
Yeah, I'm 11.
You're 11.
Yeah, 11.
And Carl is 11.
Oh, he's stunned. Hold on. I should have put my shirt on. I'm tripping. I ain't got my shirt on.
What?
Yeah.
What? Whoa! Who's not dressed? Oh, stage girl. Oh my gosh!
Oh man!
Y'all are a mess.
I got my shirt in the other day.
Yeah, your shirt. I didn't get my shirt yet. It's still in New York somewhere.
Oh yeah, yours is in transit. It's gonna take a minute.
Yeah. Well, no, it's gonna be dropped. My friend's gonna. I sent it to New York because I figured it'd be faster, and then he'll send it was a bunch of stuff I ordered. Aside from that, other places, and I said, "Can you take these packages and send them?" He's like, "Yeah." Then he had like 3 packs. He said, "Germaine, how many packages come to my house?" I don't know. Maybe
that sounds like some drug stuff. Like, hey, I got some packages coming to your house. Don't open them.
Yeah. Unless you know the better.
Right. I need my packages.
Yeah, Chris and Snoop will be there to pick them up.
I got keys coming in from overseas.
Right.
There you go.
That's an old one.
Y'all gonna get everybody in trouble.
This looks like new tape. I don't like that. Like,
No, I told them, and then the last package I got, because then I wondered, wait a minute, the stage crew, and I'm like, and I kept thinking it went off the 15th. And then he kept talking. Then lastly, he said it went off the 19th. And I went, okay, I ain't got to see that bad boy. So I kind of messaged him. I said, there might be one more package coming because he was getting ready to send everything. He was like, how many more packages, Germaine? I was like, no, swear, just one more. I'm really sure it's just one more. He's like, all right, I'm going to wait till next week. And then I'm going to send everything. I'm like, okay. So we'll see what happens. Either way, I get stuff.
The studio. That's serious right there.
Huh? I know.
That's the DJ, the DJ Supreme right there.
Yeah, just makes us all feel very small. Got a whole studio.
I've used the beat that he made for me on some videos I've made. It's just like, and it's great. Sometimes I forget. It's just like, oh yeah, this is dope. Who made this? I was like, oh yeah, this from Squid. It's like, oh yeah.
What I do?
You just good stuff.
Studio.
Right. It's all positive. We talk about your studio. We talk about how good you're doing. You're blowing up. You know what I'm saying?
About to blow up.
On the ones and twos.
I'm trying. It's not how it used to be.
No, it can come back.
The bottom line is you're trying.
I live in California. It's not coming back anytime soon.
Yeah, why?
That's just how California is.
All right, okay, I guess. Where'd Kevin go?
He
changed his shirt.
That's all right.
He went to finish his non-beer.
His non-beer.
You don't want to hear about your weather, man. We don't want to hear about your California weather and sunshine.
Oh man, it's been gloomy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Gloomy.
I heard it's been kind of chilly.
It snowed here today.
Oh,
yeah.
Where you at, Dean?
It was snowing.
Yeah.
Are you in Sweden with Germaine?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Sean's pointing like I am, and Sean.
This box, and that box, and that box.
Okay.
3 people in Sweden.
Okay.
And we got
Where are you, Carl?
I'm in St. Louis. It snowed here last week.
Oh,
Y'all
It
keep
just-
talking
it was
about
just like
snow.
a-
What is snow?
Shut up.
Yeah.
It was just like random.
You know what?
you have to travel further up your long state to get
Now
to the
you
snow.
just go in the mountains. What's that?
Right.
Hour drive, 30 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it snows
Get
up
your
in
sweater
Temecula
on.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, well, welcome to Zooming in Comfort. I am Germaine, and these guys are here. I have called y'all so many names. It was like Zooming with the men, and then it's raining men, and then I just settled on men on stage because that's what I know. Because it's an all-male crew, and this is going to be just so interesting to hear all the lovely things, especially about not having girl children. Yeah, I marked that down, bro.
Right. Yeah.
Hopefully
Never
my
had
daughter
it.
is in line watching this. Love you, Zora. You're awesome.
I'm gonna make sure she sees this little section here and be like, Zora, baby, come here, honey. Let me show you what your daddy said about us girls.
She'll be okay. She'll be all right. She don't need any more ammunition.
Oh, what other
She makes up
ammunition?
ammunition. No, she makes it up.
She makes it up.
Hey.
Yeah.
You change your shirt, Kevin?
Trying to look
I did.
decent.
Me and my son. Okay, so my son is in there. I was cooking breakfast, okay, and my son was in there finishing up. So I was trying to work with him on getting all that squared away. You know, he wants
So
to be
the
a
kitchen-
chef, so I'm giving
You were
him
being
a little
domestic.
cooking responsibility.
Is the kitchen still walk-inable? Can we still walk in the kitchen?
Yeah, we didn't burn nothing up.
Disaster?
We didn't burn.
You don't see no smoke behind them or nothing like that. There's no
Okay,
ash
sure.
on his
No
cheek.
smoke, no smoke. Nothing.
Show of hands, who here just listened to that story makes it sounds like the Kevin got punked out his bathroom. That's what I heard. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I tried to, change my shirt, and my son, he was in there, and y'all go ahead with the show, man. Y'all go ahead with the show.
It's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
Right.
Well, y'all, it was fun. I'll see y'all later.
I mean, I walked in the kitchen and my son had
Taking my ball and
going
going home.
Right. Show us your arm, Kevin. Show us your arm.
Wait, he
just
pushed me.
He just grabbed you by the arm. I told you not yet, Dad. I was like, okay.
I'm not even gonna show y'all my son then, because he's about to be 15.
There you go.
About my
Wow.
size
Oh, yeah, that's about that
already.
age.
He's gonna be a big kid, so he's gonna be
Wow.
Just staring at you out the corner of his eye, just be like, I can
too
take
much.
You can take him?
him. Right? I was like, I can take him.
You want to say hi, KJ? Come here. You got stuff on? Just come say hello. Say.
Look at him say hello, walk away.
Oh, you gotta get in the camera if you're gonna say hello. Where are you going? Just say hey. What's up?
There you go. Hello.
Yeah,
I heard, all I heard was,
I don't know why he's getting shot.
Right,
He
I heard
just-
See
it.
that? Say he's the same
Yeah,
height
it's
as me
your
on the couch.
doppelganger.
Yeah, he's
Right.
That's your phone right there.
it's doppelganger. Exactly.
Big dude.
Yes, yeah.
You must have a very good-looking mama.
Right.
He does have a good look. Yeah, he gets it from her. So this okay. So we ragging on Kevin today, huh?
No,
It's okay. It's
Where
a
are you,
Germaine
Kevin?
Beige, roast session. I see. Okay.
No, because I'm already on them because they didn't want no girl children, and now it's I'm on your side, Kev.
I'm just
Oh,
warning
remember-
people. That's all.
I didn't
Just
say
one of
that.
those neutral ones, because I was also complimenting your baby's mother
Right.
and dissing you at the same time. So it was,
Right.
it was a balance tease.
That is a
That's how we
compliment
started
that
out,
can only
okay.
work. That can only work against men. It's like
Right.
he would never tell a woman, "Oh, the dad must be beautiful." It's just like, "Oh, what?"
Wow.
Yeah.
That don't work. That don't work.
Yeah.
It's a dad
Yeah.
Billy D.
Right.
Oh, man.
It's like, well, hold on. So what you trying to say?
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying he reminds me of Colt 45.
Orlando Calrissian's beer of choice.
I want to say something to Denny, but D down here with the whole dreads. You know what I'm saying? I'm struggling to hold on to this a little bit. So I'm like,
Don't worry about it. This joint
I've
is-
known D since 2003, and he's always had dreads.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I started
Also,
in
it could be
'99.
weed. I mean,
Started
we
in
had
99?
the same length dreads for 20 years. So,
They're not the same length.
oh, okay.
Not at all.
Oh,
Not
extensions. We had-
They've gone through.
Nah. What? Lie to yourself. Whatever makes you feel better, bro.
It does make me feel better.
Don't worry. Hey,
It
you and Sade can just compare foreheads. You'll be all right.
Dang!
Oh my goodness.
Wait, let's get some formal introductions before we just like massacre.
See, I wasn't even gonna compare you to Stevie Wonder. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't gonna do it. You know, but I tell you what, I'll go wrong when Stevie Wonder cuts all his hair off. How about
Oh
that?
my
Yeah, okay.
God.
All right.
Y'all are-
Wow.
Y'all some
Hold on.
killers today.
But
Y'all
can we
are
talk
killing
about
each other.
Okay, he's a whole legend, and I love music. I'm a music head, but can't I know the
You gotta
man
let
is
it
blind,
go.
but somebody got to tell him, "Hey, Steve, hey,
You
buddy,
gotta let it go.
hey, yeah." I mean, he
Yeah, he gotta
my
let it go.
hairline is
That
here,
joint-
but he's just like,
Yeah. Every time I see him, I'm like, come on, bro. Don't do this to
Only thing-
Detroit.
only thing worse than his dreads is that free throw he shot. Anyway, okay, so moving
Whoa.
on.
Oh, that's petty. That is
That's
petty.
bad.
I'm sorry.
Actually, I
gotta
have
get
a
the
quick
heat
story
off
about
of me.
Stevie
I'm sorry.
Wonder. He grew up down the street from my family, and my mom's first cousins. He grew up on the same block, and they joked him because he was blind, which is cruel.
Yeah.
Why?
But he was famous by the time he was 9, so he got the greatest get back in the history
Right.
of get backs.
Right.
I mean, he wrote a song about him.
Little Stevie.
Here it goes.
Right.
They played a harmonica on it and everything.
A boy's born in my town, Mississippi.
Hey, he couldn't say it was look, Detroit. He couldn't say Detroit. He didn't want to give too much of the story.
Nah.
Right.
Just gave the hint.
Yeah.
Living just enough.
Yeah,
Just enough for the city.
Enjoy elementary school.
I remember 1960, 72. These fools tried to jump. It's all right though.
Yep.
I came back to ask for tickets. I said no.
Remember that one time?
Right.
50 years ago.
I had my bouncers throw them out the alleyway. Just
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm glad y'all know each other now. Let me just do a quick intro. This is DJ Squid over here. There you go. He's full of music, humongous, spontaneous, and elaborate studio behind him.
Yeah.
I like
And
all
full
those
of music.
words.
Well, you
Yes.
know,
It's
not mine,
but we ain't
so-
saying it.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all
we're
right.
not, don't tell nobody.
I ain't gonna
Right.
tell nobody, you know, but he is the master of the boards.
I'm gonna need you guys to fast forward like 20 minutes so we can skip past this part when you rewatch it. All right.
There you go.
Skip
Why?
that.
Oh, okay, no problem. And there is Sean, and Sean is that's right, because DJ, you're where? You are in
I'm in San Diego.
San Diego. And Sean here is not in San Diego. He is in Stockholm, right here with us.
Yep.
It's okay.
Hey everyone, I'm Sean. I'm in Stockholm. Also went for a long walk in the woods today, and it was snowing on April 24th, 2021. It was not fun to see, but it was a nice walk. I grew up in Virginia, so I'm a East Coast bred. And then when I was in the military for 4 years and was stationed in California and ended up staying in San Diego, in fact, for 13 years of my adult life. I've been living in Stockholm for 8 years. I've known Germaine just about as long from the American Club here in Stockholm. And I've known Dee since I actually used to be married to a Swedish woman, and I lived here in Stockholm for a year, 2003, 2004, and met Dee back then. And the other guys, great to meet you, Kevin, Carl, DJ Squid, representing San Diego. Man, I miss those palm trees, man.
Especially today.
Yeah.
Yes,
I know you
especially
do.
today.
I do.
It's
It's
just
gonna be
mess
like
out
60
there.
degrees today, so
That's crazy.
I'll take a June
Thank you.
gloom. I'll take the
We go
Mary
outside for
layer.
that.
We're gonna mute you now, DJ. No, stop.
No.
And then we have Kevin down here. I'm not gonna say. I was gonna say Kevin on Babe, but you know what? It's all right. Kevin Stewart is down here, and Kevin,
you know what I'm saying?
Share.
Yeah, that's what they know me as on the Discord. The
Kevin on Babe
Discord, which is where I met Germaine, Squid, and Big Carl down there, or Bold Expressions. Excuse me. Yes. First time meeting Sean and D, but I see already this is going to be interesting. So, yeah, that's me.
And next we have Mr. Carl. Carl has a podcast called Bold Expressions. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere that mine is not, but that's all right. It has great interviews. Great.
It may be where yours aren't, but you're doing stuff that I'm not doing. So wherever yours is, people need to go check it out.
Thank you very much. I'm very humble. Carl is in St. Louis, and tell us about yourself, Carl.
I'm Carl, husband, father of one, very rambunctious 6-year-old. He'll be 7 Monday. So took the weekend off to try to do some stuff with him. I have a podcast. I started probably, I want to say 2018. I'm marching towards 200 episodes and trying to plan on what I'm going to do for that. And I've been blessed to have people such as Germaine, DJ Squid, and Kevin on my show, and a lot of other people who have helped me make it better than what I could have had by myself. So I'm grateful for that.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, he turned 27 this week. 26. Sorry. Ain't gonna be
2026.
2026. 2026.
20th year in a row being 26.
He's 2026 this week, and he lives here in Stockholm, Sweden. And this is my good friend D. D, tell us about yourself.
Hey, been here since 2003 in Stockholm. Moved here from New York. Lived everywhere. Originally from Detroit. Grew up Alabama. Went to DC, Maryland. Grew up there. And suburbs of Chicago. Also lived in LA for a second, but it was trash. So moved.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, it's trash. Just sit in your car all the time, waste gas, looking at people, not moving. But yeah, I moved over here. I have 2 children. My daughter is 13, going to be 14, and my son is 11, going to be 12. Unfortunately, he's a Golden State Warriors fan, so I failed as a Pistons fan. No, that's about it. Known Germaine for forever. Known Sean for forever. It's cold over here right now. We're not very happy. I don't have a podcast.
One thing you said that you lived in DC. Did you see that it's now a state?
It's not a state yet. The house.
Well, yeah, they're ratifying.
Yeah. We'll see what happens since everything is Joe Manchin, King Joe Manchin. But I find it, I've always found it weird that the place that the actual capital is sitting in is taxed. Taxed without representation.
I could have sworn there was a war. Right, I could have sworn there was a war over something like that. No taxation, no representation.
It's really strange.
Right.
And everything that applies in these so-called freedoms magically don't apply to people who look like this.
And I didn't realize. I kept hearing it was like apparently there's more people living there than in was it Vermont and what was the other state that the borders did? And I was just like,
multiple
both Dakotas.
Yeah.
Right. I think so. It's just like, how do y'all have less people than freaking DC?
Because DC would be the first predominantly black state, and go-go would be the official music of DC.
Nice. Bringing it back.
They ain't ready for that. They ain't ready for they ain't ready for some go-go music to go on, and then the representatives start vibing in or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
You
as
guys
Squid
see what they're
said,
gonna call it,
he
though.
said
They're not
challenge
gonna call it.
accepted. He gonna give us a go-go, just a whole stream full of go-go. Come on, you can do it.
Oh,
Not today.
Wait, you got it.
Today.
Got some Chuck Brown for me. Got that skillet.
Sean, what were you saying? They're going to call it what now?
it's not going to be the District of Columbia. They're going to rename it, if it becomes a state, Douglas, Columbia. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Little tribute. Yeah.
I like that.
Douglas.
I like it too.
Douglas Columbia.
Yeah.
Yep, go in there and spend my Tubmans.
Yeah, that's on the bill that passed.
Oh man, going.
Yep.
Nice hook. I like that.
Mhm.
Okay, one question I want to ask you guys, since I have you all here now, and most of you have children. DJ, do you have children?
Yeah, I have two.
You have two, and everyone has been. Look at you. You have four. Look at you. Put your finger 4. You got 4. You win. Kim got 4.
More power to you.
Yeah.
And all of you have been married, are married. You just have to nod yes. You don't have to identify which one it is.
Yes.
There you go.
Very, yes.
Now, in the relationships that you've had, being married or having a significant other, or have been married and now divorced, and now you have children, how as a father, has anything changed in your balance between the relationship, aside from you and your partner not being together anymore, the relationship balance between your partner and taking care of your children? How do you balance that out? If there's any separation.
Say nice things. Say nice things. Oh, sorry.
I think it's an interesting question. It is a tough balance, without question. I discovered things about myself as a father that I didn't even know really about myself, and it kind of like pushed me along life's journey of just kind of figuring out who I am. The balance between the relationship I had with my ex, it was a big change for me personally, because we had been married 14 years before we had our first child. So all of the relationship stakes in the ground, this is my territory, this is your territory, that whole chalkboard got wiped clean. And then we had to kind of like reestablish the family dynamic. But then as far as raising the child, that's a continuous process for me. My boys.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
I just think it's a really cool question. I think, the balance is different because there's this, other human being, which is now the center of everything. But it's, it's like kind of like the recovery of figuring out my course, I guess it's kind of hard to describe, but one day I wasn't a dad, the next day I was a dad. I went through the typical first child blues, for a couple months when I was just kind of useless. And then, I just picked up the kids, started doing things, and I don't know, found a new balance.
Okay. DJ?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't prepared. I was listening to Sean.
Okay, we'll come back to you. No,
no, it's fine. It's fine. Like Sean and I are in similar situations. So I am a co-parent of 2, and my daughter is 13, she'll be 14 in 2 months, and my son is 11. So about
so you like deep?
Huh? Oh yeah.
No, I said so you like deep, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm 26 too. Finding the balance between, because they're homeschooled. Well, they're back in school, but figuring out how to get them to want to do things, to want to do school, because everything's shut down and you got used to that sedentary lifestyle. For them, with the rise of Fortnite.
Okay. I heard Fortnite was cool, but I don't know.
Oh, it's life.
It's horrible.
Man, it's life.
It's life. It's horrible.
So it's about getting them out of their comfort zone, because Fortnite is not their comfort zone. and getting them out, like, because we have wonderful parks out here. Each time, you know, San Diego, we go to Torrey Pines, Del Mar, La Jolla, and we can go hiking and getting them used to doing things like they would do in school as, you know, regular things. We got parks around here, go play some basketball, go do things like that. And then versus their mom, it's two separate households.
Okay.
So I know what goes on over there, but I don't really know what goes on over there.
Okay.
And I don't want to give instruction for them to take over there because that's not how it's a balance. But anyway, I don't want to ramble and rant too long. So.
It's okay.
It's good.
That's good. Next. How about you, 4?
Hey, come on.
You know what I'm talking about, mister.
My answer is ratchet. I gotta somebody else go for me.
You said your answer is ratchet?
Yes, he did.
Here I was pulling out my notebook, ready to
you know
write
what I'm
down.
saying? I got the pen.
I can do. Hey, I can do voice to text. We can just.
Okay.
This is a safe space. You can say what you want.
It's a safe space?
This is a safe space.
Let me get prepared. Hold on.
Right. As long. Right.
I gotta take notes.
Wait, I didn't know you want glasses.
Right.
Let's go.
Go ahead. Say.
Okay. Let me take a deep breath. Whew, okay. All right. So I okay. All right. So my wife and I we have our 2 children together. Okay. I had 2 before we got together, and that is interesting to say the least. That's not even the word for it. But basically, I say this. Just the short story is, I when I was done with that relationship, I was done with it. And then I got with my wife. We were not. There was nothing going on before we got together. You know, we were officially together. Okay, my 2 middle sons are the same age. Now here's there's 6 months between them. Okay, so
hold on, let me get the calculator.
You hear laughing in the background. It's my wife. She's laughing. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the ages. All right, so there's 16.
Sorry.
There's 15. There's 14, about to be 15. And then my daughter, the baby, she's 12. Okay. So I figured out what happened after the 4th time.
Hold up. You said you figured out what happened?
I know what happened.
I figured out what happened the 4th time.
After the 4th time, my dad sat me down and explained how birds and bees work.
I was like, I think she owes something. Every time we just go in there, I don't know what's going on. I think I'm getting suspicious of it. I don't know.
Y'all are mad. Go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead. Okay. Don't listen to them. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll mute myself.
That's worse.
Okay, so the issue is, okay, because there was that closeness, right? Okay, she has always had an issue with my wife, and we've never been able to get that common ground. So for me, it's just been tough. I don't have the relationship with my oldest kids that I would like to.
Okay.
And now my oldest is a junior, about to graduate next year, and we talk, but not like I would like to. And my second son, he's a mama's boy, so whatever his mom says goes. So we don't have much of a relationship. And each time I tried to get close, she's done everything in her power to pull him away. And so it's been tough for me. So I'm really just listening to y'all's good examples, and I'm taking notes actually. Even though I've got the most kids, I unfortunately don't have as much experience in this as I would like to have. So the one of the issues in turn that I have is kind of a guilt that I have with not having a relationship with them and still wanting to do as much as I can with our children that we have here, because I feel like they're going to be left out, or they're going to, with this age of social media, they're going to see some things and they're going to feel like, well, why didn't we get to go or whatever? But at the same time, we can't stop what we're doing just because their mother wants to act funny. So it's a whole deal that I'm still dealing with. But it has changed my perspective on things, because whereas before, until I became a firefighter back in 2009, I would just get a job and it was just like, okay, I got a job and that's cool, whatever. But that year prior to me becoming a firefighter, I got laid off from 3 different jobs within a few months. Okay. Wow. So 2000, I'm sorry.
No, I said, wow.
I thought you said something. Oh, okay. Yeah, my internet is janky too, so I'm sorry if AT&T sucks over here. I don't know. So, okay, so housing economy went bad. My full-time job, I was delivering building materials like sheetrock and stuff like that. So 2008, people stopped building as many homes and stuff, so they had to lay some of us off. So I got laid off from there. That was my full-time job. My part-time job, I worked at a clothing store, which shut down. And so that closed down within like a couple months of each other. And then a couple of months after that, I started working at a Target warehouse here. Well, it was one of their oldest warehouses. So a year later, they shut down. Now, so January 2009, so the previous summer was like the summer 2008 was when the hiring process started for the city. Mm-hmm. So then, but I didn't hear from them until January of 2009. It just so happened the same day that Target said they were going to be shutting down, the chief of the fire department called me and said, "Hey, would you like to come work for us?" And I was like, yes, I might have used some other words, but yeah, I was like, definitely. So that was God was with us that day, like always. But it was just obvious, because within a few hours of them saying they're shutting down, I got that call. So then April 2009, they shut down, and April 27th, I started at the fire department and just been with them ever since. So what I'm saying is, I just realized I needed to have something stable so that I could take care of my family, and thankfully we've been able to have this come along. And 12 years in, still riding it out. I'll ride it all the way to retirement. So, but even that, just the teaching my kids about responsibility and just manning up to taking care of things no matter what, and most importantly, faith and trust in God to take care of it. So, yeah. All right, I'll stop. Somebody else. Carl, what you got, buddy?
I got nothing. That was cool, because I picked up on it because I know the 2 times we had talked previously, we hadn't gotten into that. I was under the impression that all 4 of your kids were living with you. And it didn't dawn on me till we were having a conversation in Discord yesterday that you had a different situation. I would say kudos to you on reaching out and trying to establish a relationship with your sons. I would say, as the child of divorce, that as you get older, you will start to see things differently. And then, all that you can do is let them know that the door is open, and, put out that olive branch, and they'll make that decision on their own. They'll be able to see without somebody else in their ear and make their own decision. And, as we all know, there's a lot of things that we figure out once we've grown, things that we didn't really realize as a kid. You think about it's like, oh, that's why this happened. That's why this and this happened. And how sometimes there is, well, mostly in life, there's some gray in areas. It's not necessarily somebody's a bad guy, somebody's a, always good. It's a thing of this person felt this way. They felt they were wronged in some way. And so they reacted in this manner because they felt that the person that they were doing this to didn't deserve whatever. So, and I say that, like I said, say all this to, I know it's important for, to me, I feel like it's important for sons to have a relationship with their father, or, at least a positive male role model. Because as much as my mom did, as much as I thought it's like, okay, I would like a guy to treat her this way, it's also important to have a male figure to show you the in-betweens, because it's easy to say, oh, you should be responsible, you should be this and that, you should treat women this way or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's another thing to actually see it. And your sons, and not just your sons, but your daughter is going to learn from how you treat your wife, how you treat her, how you treat the brothers and everything, how a man is supposed to be. You are the standard bearer for who they go to what a good man is. And the person I've known you to be, I know that they have a good role model in there. So kudos to you and all the other men who, doing things, have a good male role model to show them, what's up, even if they don't always follow every example that you may give, just like we didn't follow all of ours. As long as you put that good foot forward, as long as you teach them, there's always going to be a little bit of something that you taught them that they're going to carry on and, hopefully teach their children, and it'll rub off on somebody else, because you never know what you teach somebody, what you tell somebody, how that's going to influence them for the rest of their life. So, yeah. But I'm sorry, I did all that. I didn't say it on my mind. I have, like I said, I have a 6-year-old son. His name's Daniel. He is that guy right there. Right there. I'm pointing to him, but you can't see my finger. Anyway. He's autistic. He's on the autism spectrum. He was diagnosed when he's about 2. Maybe a little bit earlier than that. It was pretty early on. He is, I always joke about, like, he is the only thing I've done right with my life. He is, I love that little dude. He is frustrating and amazing at the same time. And like I always tell people, I always hope to do right by him in a way to where when I am no longer around, that he can hopefully progress in his life without somebody else. I know that with his condition, he may need some help, but I at least want him to get to the point to where he is independent in a sense, and that I've shown him how to treat people, how to respect people, and how to love people, hopefully through my example, not just by just saying, hey, this is what you're supposed to do, but just as how he picks up random things that I say and I do, that he'll just see it and be like, okay, well, I want to be like Dad. And so do that. So, yeah, like I said before, I'm a child of divorce, and I've, talked about different things with my sisters and their kids. And I've always talked about finding a balance and different things. And one thing that I noticed that, everybody has done is not really speaking ill of the previous partner. Because I think a lot of people get into that and they end up trying to poison the kid against the other partner. And that is really, it's messed up. And it's also creates a lot of stress on the kids, because out of everybody, they didn't ask for any of it. And it puts a lot of stress on them, because it's always difficult when you're telling somebody something about somebody else and they don't see it. So you're with that person just like, well, somebody told me this, that, and the other, but I'm not seeing this. I'm not experiencing this. but I'm still, and I don't want to, it's not like just a friend is saying something. It's like, oh, it's my mom or it's my dad that's saying that this person is vindictive, that this person is that. And, you also you also put that person in a position of being a ringleader or being kind of a peacemaker when all they just want to do, they just want to live their life without, adult junk or what have you. And as I said before with Kevin, like, it's also good not to do that because as I said, eventually they're going to get older and they're going to see for themselves what is real, what is not. Like I've told my nieces that, like a couple of my nieces, I have a way about their father. I think he's trash, but I made sure to never tell them that. I think he's trash for multiple reasons. But I made a decision. It's like, I hate that guy. It's like, but I'm never going to disrespect your father to you because I know who he is. And sooner or later, you're going to find out who he is. And they did. And it's just like, so there was no point in me doing that to where they can do it themselves. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I brought everybody down. Say something funny.
No, that's real, man. I've actually seen that already. My oldest son, like I said, he's 16, and his mother obviously has a way about herself, and he's picked up on some of her ways, unfortunately. He has a short temper, and now they're butting heads. She wants to call me every time she has a problem with him now, and I used to jump, but I can't anymore. Like, I have to let, first of all, I have to let her lay in the bed that she has made, but I also have to establish that I can't just be the disciplinarian. I can't just be the person, the voice of reason every time they have an issue. Like, nah, like I've tried to be there for them. Like, I need you to see, and now he's seeing. So again, as he's getting older, like Carl was saying, I think we're actually getting closer to her dislike. But I mean, hey, it's what you did. So I feel exactly what Carl is saying. That was real.
Danny, how you doing, Danny? You all right there, Danny?
I see a lot of blinking.
It's Dean. I don't use Zoom much. My family decided the name for me. I appreciate listening to what you all have. My daughter is 13 going on 14. My son is 11 going on 12. When I moved over here in 2003, I was 28. I did not take into consideration what moving to another country would be. So I've lost a lot of people in these 18 years. And I didn't think about how my children wouldn't be around the family in the way that I'd always thought. So the culture here is different. And Sean and Germaine can attest to that. And it's a culture in which I don't want them to be like, to be honest. There's a lot of lack of empathy, and being mixed kids. There's a lot of stuff that comes with it. And so I ended up being their entire, I'm the aunts, uncles, grandparents, everything all wrapped into one. And I did not think about that during the time that they were born because my ex and she was just a person. But now, my children have been called the N-word at school multiple times. I'm at war with the principal who told me there's no racism at her school. I'm the only parent who she's talked to. I was like, but you talked to me 9 times. And the last time my son punched the dude in the face. And he's done everything. He's cried, went to the teacher. He's done everything under the sun. He's 11. And I was like, let the chips fall where they must. And his teacher called me up, was like, we don't believe him. But I was like, don't try to civilize me. I'm more civilized than you've ever been. I was like, the entirety of what I am is more civilized than you. I have more self-control. I teach my children right from wrong in a more nuanced manner than you've ever known. He was like, yeah, but he shouldn't. I was like, well, he's an 11-year-old kid, and he went through 5 other times where he did the right thing and you all did nothing. I was like, so natural selection. Hope that dude, he should have ducked. But when it comes to parenting, my background is my parents and little brother died in a car accident, which I was the only survivor when I was 6. So I have a disjointed upbringing where I moved from different house to different house to different house. I moved 4 times before I was 15. And for the most part, it gives me a further view. Like I'm able to see that I was able to see the characteristics and people around me, because I didn't feel like some of the households I lived in, I got abused, all this kind of crap. But I never felt like these are my parents, because I knew who my parents were. They just weren't around. And so for the most part, it taught me how to be able to just like, I don't want to be like that. I want to be like this. I don't want to be like that. But having children and creating the stability I never had is one of the best things that has ever happened to me as just like a human being. So the reason why I live in Sweden is because of that. Otherwise, I would not be in Sweden. I'd be back home. This place is rough. And you are perpetually, like you're talking to people who've been here almost 20 years, and we are perpetually outsiders. And so the other part too is the dependence on me as the Black parent is a tiring, irritating thing. But what it's taught me how to do is to have a core structure as to what I want my children to learn from me, because our job at the end of the day is when we lay down in that bed for the last time and close our eyes and leave here, we're supposed to leave here now like, damn, man, I hope someone can make sure, my kid's okay. We want to know they're okay. And so I approach it from that standpoint. I approach it from the standpoint of having core values. And I got married 2 years ago. My wife, who's been around them since they were very young, we work on having core values. The balance between the house doesn't exist. But at this age, what I've decided to do is, instead of trying to stress out about what they are at the other house, I try to focus on having a more rigid house here so that I create a level of safety that isn't present at the other house. That's the only way I can do it. And I have to trust that they're smart enough, and I raise them to be able to see the differences between the two. But it's a struggle. And then I'm parenting versus an entire culture versus parenting just, me versus the mom. It's the mom plus the culture. And these last couple of years have been really rough, especially last year and this year. George Floyd stuff, all this is terrifying my daughter. They don't want me to go back to the States. They're worried we're going to get stopped and, shot up by the cops and all that kind of stuff. But what I've tried to do is just humble myself, learn from their questions, and then give them the best answer that I could possibly do while picking up books, reading, listening to what is around me to give the most that I can possibly give. But I recognize I'm a flawed human being. We all are. And Kevin, I was just going to say, with what you were saying earlier, you're admitting your flaws. That's better than anything we grew up with. We grew up with some parents that take it to the graves. Like, yeah. Don't you think that time that you did this thing? What are you talking about? I didn't do anything wrong ever in the history of your life. Yeah. Those things are the things that I push back on. I make sure that I don't take that toxic masculinity. All of us who grew up in the 80s. I was explaining this to someone not too long ago. The type of toxic masculinity we had I was born in 75. So we had this normal, whatever would be compared to like my brothers who are 10 and 12 years older. They had a consistency growing up. 1986, crack hit, whole thing fell out the window. and we were just left on our own. I mean, like when I think back of my college parties that I went to where I have to leave an hour before because people are going to shoot, I'm like, man, I never want my kids doing anything of that nature.
Yeah.
But not only on top of that, we had this BS concept, and this is all Americans, which was like swallow it, don't say anything, and then just push through. And so if we can teach our kids not to be what we are, because I look at myself and I'll always be broken. I've been through way too much stuff for me, the individual, to always let go of, be able to ever pull this mask off. That is what kept me from getting shot. And I'm a Cosby kid. I went to private schools, but it still was there the entire time. You know, people ask me here with the George Floyd stuff, like, what do you think about the police? And I was like, from the second I was 14 years old, they've been pulling guns on me in the suburbs, minding my own business the entire time. I've had it over and over and over again. And so what I learned to do is not show my emotions. And this sometimes pains me when it comes to my children, because my son, he's picked up on it. Even though I've said the right words, he's picked up on, you know, he said to me like, Daddy, I didn't cry when this happened. I was like, nah, cry, show who you are, you know? And he was like, but I've never seen you cry. And I was like, that was beat out of me. That was scared out of me. It's not that I don't want to be able to do it. I just don't have it, you know, anymore. So I think that that admitting where you have flaws allows you to strengthen that area. And even if you're not perfect, it's going through that process that your children will pay attention to, and never close the door. My friend was put to death by the state in 2011, and I watched his parents when he got arrested for a murder that he may or may not have committed. And he was 19 years old when he got arrested. And I watched his parents, and they never closed the door on him. And I just, you know, like I always thought, like I was 19 same time. And I remember thinking during that time, like, but if he killed somebody, like, you know, but I just watched his mom. And, you know, she was cool with my grandparents, and his mom and dad, they speak of him clear. We love our son. We don't agree with what he did, but we got him. And I think that's what parenting really is at the end of the day. Keep the door open no matter what it is, because those of us who haven't had the door open know what it feels like. And if we can make this next generation, who's seen way more than we were able to truly see, like we saw a whole bunch of stuff, but weren't able to process it. And Germaine's heard this, but I was in DC in '86 when everything just went and crack hit, people shooting down the block when I'm going to church.
Oh, man.
All this stuff is just like crazy, right? So Ta-Nehisi Coates talked about this in his book. And I actually had to put it down because he creeped me out. He's the same age as me. And he said they used to round us up, Black boys, and round us up, take us to places like the DC Army. And he was like, they would have like Washington, formerly Skins, dudes up there, local musicians, whatever. And they would be like, don't kill people, don't take drugs, and don't sell drugs. And then we'd be like, okay, cool. And I stood up at this one meeting, and I'm pretty sure he was talking about this meeting in his book. And I raised my hand, and I was like, okay, I understand, don't shoot people, blah, blah, blah. I was like, but the problem is that dudes my age have guns. And they try to approach me from time to time. What do I do in those situations? This dude looked at me and was like, well, young man, you just put your dukes up. whole audience was like listening, like, yeah, what do we do? And I was like, yeah, that the gun part is the part that I'm more worried about, because the dukes part, if I win, he still has a gun. And he was like, well, in my day, in your day, did they walk around with guns? And he had no answer for me. And none of our family, the next generation really paid attention to what we went through. And it doesn't make a difference, because even white kids and all this kind of stuff, there was this concept that the 60s happened. We arrived too late. Everything was already done. And y'all complaining about stuff when it's way, way better than when I was a kid. And so what I do is I don't hold my kids to 1980s standards. I don't hold my kids to, you have it easier than me. I mean, you know, I could tell them right now, you've had a dad twice as long as I've had a dad. That must be nice. But I'm not going to do that.
Dang.
That's dark, but okay.
What is it? You're arguing with your brother. My brother was dead.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's what they did to us. You know, I mean, what do you say? I think our generation is unique in that, man, Germaine and I have talked about it. Yeah. Our generation is unique in that, what do you say to people that went in white and black bathrooms? We're the equivalent to the children of enslaved people. Oh, teacher being mean at you at school? Must be nice to be able to read. I was owned by somebody. So it's, I mean, as long as we admit, we're good. We're good. But I want to get my kids to the States more often because I want them to have their own identity of Blackness. I base this off of immigrants that I grew up with, kids of immigrants. And what they end up having is like whenever their parents lived in Jamaica in 1960s, that's the version of Jamaica that they're trying to live up to, or China or whatever. I don't want to give them a concept like that. I want them to learn their own things, you know, when it comes to that. And I don't want the idealized concept like that. But I have a great relationship with them. We talk, and I tell them sometimes I don't know, or I messed up on that one. And that's the best that I can do. And at this point in time, I've decided when it comes to their mom, let the chips fall where they must. I mean, I can look them dead in the eyes no matter what. So it is what it is, and it is what it will be. Yeah. But I haven't 50% of the time.
Y'all have just like brought me. I've been thinking about I've taken like little bits and pieces and remembering like even how I was as a kid. I'm the youngest of three, and how my parents were, and even the thing about, you know, the parent trying to tell you that they didn't do anything wrong. I vividly remember I would hate it. Well, I would dislike it a lot when my mother knew she was wrong. She never would say anything. And I don't know where the gumption came from this one day that I was like, Ma. And she's like, what? And I told her, and I said, well, you said I did so and so, and I didn't. You were wrong. So you need to tell me you're sorry. I was nice. I was good. I didn't say it like threatening. I was like, you know.
I'm sorry. I thought that was going to be followed with, and then
I'm trying to figure out
flowers to the funeral.
What time did you wake
up?
I'm
here.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if I've been talking to a ghost this whole time.
No, but don't get me wrong. She was like, what? You know, when you get that, I'm like, whoa, okay. And I'm like, I'm already in there. Just get your feet dirty. You're already dirty. can't get undirty now. You know, and I said it to her again. I said, well, every time, you know, and I just said it because I was trying to make myself, I think I was a teen at this particular point, but I was trying to make myself 7 years old. And I said it to her and I said, can you just please say you're sorry? And she just kept looking at me like, are you crazy, lady? And I kind of, something in me was like, okay, just say you're sorry. I don't care if you don't mean it. Just say you're sorry. And she did. She did. She went, all right, I'm sorry. I said, thank you. And I hugged her and walked away. I thought, whew, okay. I got my knife, I got my limbs, I got all my fingers.
There's something so powerful about that. Because I try to tell my son, I'll fuss up and be like, well, no, what? That's Daddy's fault. Daddy messed up. I'm sorry. Because there's something about even as your parents being like, you know, hearing it, it's like, okay, I got it wrong that time. Because if you don't, you kind of get this resentment of, I know I was right. And they never admitted that was right. And then it does kind of create a thing to where it's like, you kind of grow to where it's like, well, if I can't trust you to even tell me that you were wrong, if we both know you were wrong, then why would I trust you to go to something that's actually more important that we need to talk about?
because that was like because like my mom, she always had my back. Even if like in school, she knew I was like way out the park, she'd be like, "Not my daughter." But of course, she'd like, "Okay, what did you do?" "Okay, let's get this done now because I done went in there and just like But with this, and then it happened again, and I was like, "Ma," and she's like, "What?" I say, "You're sorry." "Yeah, I'm sorry." But each time I got her to do it, the more it actually meant something to her. And after a while, it wasn't even about me anymore. I just wanted to say it because she was wrong. But for her, I can tell in her, she knew that it meant something to me and it meant something to her to say. And she became softer when she said it. And she would say, "No, baby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that, blah, 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 or I was wrong." And that was cool. And I didn't do it every single time, but there were points where it was like, "Yo." But and everyone's like, "Oh, but again, you got that because you were the youngest and she was weak." And I was like, my mom was a lot of things, but weak was not one of them words.
She was worn down.
Right. Yes.
You're worn down. I'm like, nah. But but like he's but having like you guys having that relationship with your children and even having that relationship with your significant other, your exes, and having all that balance means a lot to your children, especially, and to yourselves, and to your own sanity. Because my parents, they ultimately, I was waiting for the day. I was like, when are y'all going to divorce? Kind of thing. After there was such turmoil in the house, but I knew, they were waiting for me to graduate. Why? Go. I'm all right. But they were good friends. My parents were the best of friends. I got to a point where marriage was not the thing that they should be anymore. But they were friends to the end, till my father passed. She was the last person who spoke to him to the end. So they still had a great friendship. But when it came to the discipline and everything else, I got that look of, if I catch you over there and you ain't supposed to be there, what's going to happen. And my silly behind went over there one more time and got caught. But okay. Took my punishment, went about my business. But they had that balance between having, 3 girls. That's right. Girls, D. Girls. All of them.
Never gonna live it down.
That's why she was
ain't.
tired. That's why she was tired by the time you came along. She was Toby.
3 girls.
Toby.
Yeah, she must have been, because she sent my 2 sisters away when I was born.
Hey, yo, I told you.
What?
See, my theory continues.
But there was a big gap. There was like 7 and 4 years. I'm like, what you
telling
telling her? They grown.
The thing about girls is like what you said. They are awesome in the beginning, freaking hugging you, doing all kinds of stuff. They're teaching you how to be a better parent. Then all of a sudden, turn into demons. You'd be like, "Good morning." They're like,
Yeah.
like, I didn't even do anything.
Germaine, I think you touched on some really important stuff, though, and everybody's story is all fantastic to hear. I was just going to add that one of the things that I've done to accept who I am is realize that as parents we mess up our children. So before I had a kid, I went through some stuff in my life where I was having a hard time with something. Turned my life over to care God as I understand Him, and I've just been praying and meditating every day. And as part of that process, I genuinely, to the very, very core of me, forgave my parents for my childhood. Now, that may not sound like that big of a deal, but I'm very grateful both of my parents are alive. I'm also a child of divorce. They're only 20 years older than me, and they maybe made mistakes. But what had occurred to me is that when they made those mistakes, they made a decision based on only the knowledge they had up to that point, not any of the knowledge afterwards for which I was judging their decisions. And so letting go of all of that completely down to my very core has allowed me to have a healthy adult relationship with them, because they're in their 60s, I'm in my 40s. But now as a father for the last 6 years, it's allowed me to even forgive myself, because inevitably I've made mistakes. I have, shit mouthed his mom, to a 6-year-old on accident and been like, what did I say? And rather than beat myself up or get down in the dumps about it, the capacity to forgive my parents has allowed me to like say, hey, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to make decisions from my heart and do my best. But I can forgive myself without like excusing myself. Like I hold myself accountable. That is an important part of the balance. But I know that between now and when he moves on to live on his own, I'm going to make a few more mistakes. And it's going to be probably, when I look back 10 years after I make the mistake, I'll say to myself, shit, I made a huge mistake right there. But I have faith that I will try to make the right decision, with the knowledge that I have leading up to it. It's a tough thing, raising children. It's certainly one of the most challenging things that we can do. And it's one of the most rewarding things we can do. I feel that way. And all that. And then this one last thing is just, I try not to take myself too seriously. I don't know what I'm doing as a parent. I mean, I bet Kevin with 4 kids is still like, come on, I mean, really. And then our parents, they were our age back then and they were feeling the same way, even with I don't have to apologize for nothing. The generations change, but I think the core of it is the same. And it's just like accepting that I'm going to make mistakes, that my kid's not going to be perfect either. And, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Feels so warm to the heart now. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
And I like the context too. When I think of our parents' generation, I like the context of it, like what we got. Because, these people talk about millennials, Gen X, blah, blah, blah. I mean, not Gen Z. They're like, oh, they're lazy, they're this, they're that. But like, we were the originals. I remember like Newsweek saying like, Gen X, they're slackers, they're lazy. They're in their mom's basement. They not have social skills. They're playing video games and watching MTV all the time. And so what I try to do is not project that onto them because I know what it feels like. And then I also try to look at the context of the world in which my dad was born in 1938. My mom was born in 1943. Like, what was the context of what they have? And if we just like pull back in time, parenting has probably been close to the same from caveman days to about 1800s, right? So all this time in human history, it's been about the same. 1900s, a little bit different, but not drastically different. Because you could still live on the farm that your parents and we, those of us in Sweden, we get to see a longer stretch of time than we do back home because they wiped all the Native Americans' accomplishments out. Anyway, but we get to see this longer stretch of time, and you're able to piece these things together and understand that we're one of the first generations who there's like a flip on. Like I talked to my aunt, she was like, well, if your kids get on your nerves, you got to beat them. It's like, A, it's not illegal here. It's illegal here. But B, I don't want to spank my children. I don't want to associate pain with their mistakes. And I don't want them to create a secondary life, a version in front of me and a version behind me. That's what everybody I knew. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. Everybody I knew talked one way around the parents, totally different way around the friends. I don't want that. I want to see their true selves.
What you're saying is they was getting their Kirk Franklin on.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I'm just making sure.
Hey, I was there giving Bible studies to young ladies all the time.
Oh, Jesus.
That's why you got 2 kids now up there being fast.
All that Bible study.
Kevin, I don't know how they got here. They do look like me, though.
Something I said.
Youth choir on Thursday night. adult choir on Friday night.
Yeah. But
Daddy
once you
Daddy
see the
Nigger look like me.
context
No,
of
she
the
don't.
world
Come
they
on.
live in, once you see the context of the world they live in, it's easier to understand the mistakes that they made. That generation that my dad and mom are of, they were the ones that had we fought World War II. Look at y'all, just got it so easy. We had Hitler to fight.
Right.
And they actually had it the easiest, that generation, the boomer and whatever that was before boomers, because my parents aren't boomers. They had it easy. They had inexpensive healthcare, inexpensive housing, all these things that led towards the wealth that they were able to acquire, minus Black people, because we could get jacked out of everything, racism over everything. But they were able to have a different world than we had, than we ever had. And so when I look at them and dealing with people who were born at the turn of the century, I look at, I think of my grandparents were my guardians, and I try to picture what it was like for them when Emmett Till got killed. Emmett Till was younger than my dad and uncle. He was killed down the street from where my dad was born, like a quick drive from Meridian, Mississippi. Those three, the Mississippi burning, three civil rights workers that were murdered. Those people were at my family's house the last meal they had. Can you imagine what my grandparents were worried about? We sit here and we worried about our Black kids when they're interacting with cops and all this kind of stuff. They weren't buried in a pond with a car tire tied around their neck. They weren't beat to death in that type of way. They get shot on camera, that type of thing. But the type of fear that they had during that time is the way that their parenting was. And their parenting was to teach you to have a level of self-control where you could have an internal you, but an external you shows nothing. To this day, when I go to the States, if it's a situation, the best way that I can read a situation is look for an older Black woman, because she will have this look in her eyes that will straighten me out and direct me towards whatever the issue is. That's what our parents' generation grew up around. And in your case, Sean, sorry to single you out, your parents grew up around lies, like tremendous lies. And they're only 20 years older than us. So this is 55. So 65, they were 10-year-olds. We're like, why are those dogs, fighting up teenagers? Oh, they like it like that down there in Birmingham. So it's, these things, once you know context, allows you to forgive them in a different way, because what was the survival during that time period? At some point in time, we'll get to the point where our children won't have to raise their kids with make sure to pull your camera out when the police stop you. You know what I mean? And that will give us hopefully, either that or please aliens wipe us out. But that will give us a better context.
Okay, and with that,
thank you.
Aliens.
There was something that both me and Sean talked about that I think is good as far as like parenting and forgiving your parents and just context and how they're growing up. In that a lot of times they do say, well, I had to walk, the old line, I had to walk 15 miles uphill in the snow with no shoes on. I had shoes, they threw away the shoes and maybe put the boxes on, and I had to walk and slide down. They had to do all that. And the thing is, and just as not just with our parents, but in interacting with different people, you may not be going through what somebody else is going through, but that doesn't mean that what they're going through is insignificant.
Yes.
You do have a level of compassion that is like, okay, yeah, we did have dogs sick on us. You did have different things. However, now, my son is just 6. You owe 3, apart from me and Sean, our children are too young to do it, but you guys, you have teenagers. You have to deal with the situation of, before, if they went out to the world, there could be somebody to bother them. And then not only then, but they can go through the internet and get to them in a different level that our parents would have to, our parents, grandparents, that they can't even conceive of how to, and they can be like, well, just turn it off. It's just like, but it's still there. And even if you turn it off, when they go back out into the world, what was in there digitally is going to get brought back up. And that's something that, and this is something that I had talked to Germaine about an issue I wanted to bring up today. Something I saw while I was at work too. Some people have this notion, and they use it for racism and other things, to where if you don't say anything about it, then it's just going to magically go away. Just because you don't say something about something doesn't mean it's not there, doesn't mean it's not affecting you, doesn't mean it is not killing you internally. And, and I thought about that when you talked about toxic masculinity, and the fact that your son was just like, well, I've never seen you cry. Especially with Black men, it's the thing of like, oh, don't be a punk. It's like, especially, and they teach us when we're young, fall, you can fall, you can have your bones sticking out of your femur sticking out your leg. It's just like, you better not cry. He all right, you better not cry. You better
shake
not cry.
Shake it off,
It's just like,
walk it off.
Put some Robitussin on.
Right, put that tussin on the bone and wrap it around your heel like Wolverine. You like Wolverine, don't you? You like Wolverine, don't you? Put that tussin on there, quit crying. Right? and it's that thing of, it's just like the try to beat that emotion out of you. But it's just like, but you need that in order to properly deal with not only yourself, but the world around you, and be able to relate and understand that people are going through things that it's not the same thing you're going through, but it's still something to somebody. And it's weird that was ever a thing, because nowadays the people who go around the world day to day without emotion are psychopaths. That's not a healthy way to go about life, not showing any kind of emotion, because if you can't show emotion, if you can't express it, then when other people express it, you think that something's wrong with them, and you can't properly relate to them. And you can't, and if you can't relate to them, you're going to end up missing out on the things that you do have in common, the things that you care, that you can share, the things that they can learn from you, the things that you can learn from them. And, I think that is important to just get that out there. It's just like, our struggles were not your struggles. Our struggles are just different. And try to figure out what that is and the best way to work around that.
No, that is true. That is so true. I think even when it comes to just basic emotions and how people deal with how they, I'm reading. Okay, no problem. Even just emotional wise, either way, and how would anyone try to deal with their own emotions, actually just expressing them. And there are people that will literally, they will go through them. If you're given a question, it's almost as if they literally edit in their head how they're going to, the subject of the matter of the question, and then they go through their own little subdivision of how this relates to what this and this. Okay, I can't say this and this, so I'm going to say this because this is safe. It might be partially true, but this is the safe answer. And sometimes people don't want the safe answer. A lot of times, like even when I ask questions of people, and I will get a speech, and I will look at them, and then I'll ask the question again, and then they'll get annoyed. I said, because you didn't answer my question. You gave me a story. I said, my question was pretty much yes or no. It wasn't a story that I had to hear that involved like a cat and a dog and a mouse and and the tree and this and the blah 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 blah. This is yes or no. And a lot of times that story is what's hiding the actual answer that they don't want to express for whatever reasons. And that's when it comes to a point of telling, even with friends. I have it a lot with my friends. And I said, and I literally have to say sometimes, this is a safe space.
Let it out.
Here is your safe. Here is the chance to say whatever you want to say with no repercussions of any type. And I think all of us have to find that space in all capacities. To say, if someone comes up to you and says something to you or asks you a question, don't go through this deduction in your head about how how this person may or may not react and how this might affect me in an hour from now. Just answer the question, because it could be just the answer. And then it's like, okay, bye, and gone. No other subject matter involved. So, and I think we are so, all of us and are, everyone is just so emotionally oppressed that everything just gets pushed down, and everything is just kind of divvied up and given out in spoonfuls. And a lot of times, sometimes you just need to
just give me the truth.
Just let it go. Because
that's good that you brought that up, because this week specifically, I've been seeing on the news where people are constantly bringing up the fact that they're like, we want to change the system. This was accountability for Chauvin, but it has nothing to do with the actual police system. We want to change the system. And then they do this thing, which I think is chewing the food up for the viewer, chewing the food up for white people and putting it back in their mouth. And they go, not all cops. And the thing that has gotten on my nerves seeing this over and over and over again this week is there's something that separates us as Black people from actual just being normal people. We all know cops. My cousin's a cop. Everybody knows a daggone cop. We don't have we don't know cops, therefore we're afraid of them. I mean, the entirety of the story is like, even the person who's doing the most to show that they care, they're still chewing the food up for this random person to make sure that they don't do it, because they're so used to people. Not all cops are evil. We know that. The system is evil.
That's going to happen no matter what. Not to break up anything, but Sean has to leave.
Sorry, guys.
Why, Sean? Why are you going?
I know. I'm sorry.
It was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you all as well. David,
need to call you out.
Catch up, man.
Good to see you.
You'll
be back.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
See you guys, Sean.
Good night.
But that kind of thing is going to happen now and for always. There's always going to be but it's not all cops. It's not. We understand that.
It's the preemptively stating that.
Yeah,
that's the part that the truth is what it does is it tells you just how far apart we are. If you have to point out these things, when my daughter said, some person she followed on TikTok was talking about all men this or men suck and all this kind of stuff, I just looked at him like, we suck. I didn't point out there's some dudes and nice dudes. Like, in general, we suck. I agree. You don't need to point that out. I don't need to make it singular about it. There's truth to the statement that she's talking about. Patriarchy sucks. What we are as men and the way that we are taught to be and the way it's perpetuated itself sucks. So I don't need to point out the singularity of some people. The true statement is there. The police suck. Police officers should be like, that's a good point. I mean, they just released a video of a dude in California who killed somebody in March, but he had already killed somebody like 2 years ago, and so they charged him for 2 murders today. What? Why is it? What? Police suck. The system sucks. I don't want any murderer at I don't care if I work at McDonald's. This dude right there killed somebody yesterday, but he's gonna work the fries with you today. Like,
they don't even let you. They don't even let. No, wait. They don't even let you work at McDonald's. So
no.
So I mean,
no.
But it didn't even have to be that. It didn't even have to be that extreme.
No.
If you worked at McDonald's and you gave out some free fries and they caught you,
you out.
That was a wrap. But it's the thing of like you said, it's
your hands.
Right. It's the preamble. Not all cops. It's a thing of when you're having a conversation, it's the things that are unsaid. It's the implied. When I say this, when I say, oh, well, women do blah, 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 blah. Of course, I'm not talking about all women. If I didn't stop and say, well, there are some good women, because I in my mind, I had the assumption that you're intelligent enough to filter that out by yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think most people, when they do that thing to where it's like, well, we're not talking about all cops, we're not talking about all men. I feel like when people do that, it is, number one, it's the thing of the cops getting the benefit of the doubt that we as people don't. When a cop shoots somebody, as you said, that the cop had already shot somebody before, rarely do you ever get until, it blows up nationally. It's just like, oh, well, this cop had actually done this, had these cases before, and it kind of led up to that. To where when we get shot, we have to prove to everybody that we didn't deserve to die. Like I was watching a video of
it's just me and my puppy.
they thought my puppy was a gun. They thought the dog was a gun, and But what's this? Candace Owens. She had all these excuses for why George Floyd was a bad guy and about him going to jail and this and that. And it's just like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Nobody is saying that he was an innocent person. Yeah. And also, why do we have to be? It's just like, okay, it's the thing of like, okay, what's the level of stuff that he has to have done for him to not have been murdered? And it's also the fact of all that stuff is good, but none of it had anything to do with why they were there. Regardless of how you feel about it.
You say Chauvin is what? And they were like, he's a police officer. What's the purpose of a jury and a judge if the police officer can be the jury and the judge and the execution? No one can mess with that argument.
Right.
But what I hear the most is I hear what we've been doing since 1619. And it's chewing up their food for them. We're not talking about this in some hypothetical thing. We want to talk about what is communism versus socialism versus this. Those are hypotheticals. We can sit here and be like, well, why don't we make Montana into communism and this into socialism and figure out how it works? What we're talking about is that our kids are getting killed right now. We're getting killed right now. People don't grasp that. That dude was 2 years older than me. I watched this dude, and the part of that video that disturbs me the most, because I didn't watch it until the trial, and I didn't mean to watch it. I don't want to watch the snuff film. But that look on that dude's eyes, we need to remember who's holding the camera that he's looking at. It was a 17-year-old child who had a 9-year-old child next to her. What kind of demonic piece of crap are you to have a 9-year-old child looking at you while you choke the life out of a human being? That's what we should be asking the question is. But we're so far behind that people are sitting there arguing about, well, you say Black lives matter. What about Asian lives? What about white lives? Right. We're not even having the actual discussion. That dude did that in front of a 9-year-old.
And once again, that is the irritating thing. Oh, Black Lives Matter. I don't think they. I think all lives matter. It's just like, if you thought all lives matter, then you wouldn't be fighting me on this.
Why are you so far behind is the question.
Right.
Why am I talking like I got a PhD and you're here talking about 1 + 1 = 3.5? I mean, that's essentially the divide. We have to stop talking down to you.
And I think one of the issues with that is like the people, like I said, the people who make these bad faith arguments. Yeah. And it's the thing of you don't want you run into the trap of you don't want it to go unchallenged, but at the same time you don't want to give it too much. You don't want to give it too much oxygen to where it becomes the conversation. That becomes more of the conversation than what is actually the issue. Because as you see, they will talk about. I won't say I had a conversation. I saw something on Instagram this morning. Somebody randomly brought up some stuff. There was a show on Disney Plus, a Marvel show that just went off, and they was talking about racism because he's a Black guy, he's the symbol of America, and somebody was talking about like, it'd be better if they didn't bring it into the comics and doing all this. It's just like, but a lot of stuff is based off that. It's like it's like this stuff is happening in the real world, and I know you're coming here to escape it, but for us, we can't escape it. It is nice to see somebody who looks like me being the main focus of a group to where there's mostly blue-eyed, blonde-haired white people. And then somebody else brought up the fact of the people for January 6th. Oh, he's like, well, I don't agree with them, but they were fighting for what what was right. But then every time he mentioned BLM, which Black Lives Matter is the go-to, Black Lives Matter and Antifa is the go-to for all these people, even though you ain't never heard of Antifa since 2 years ago. You ain't heard not one thing about Antifa. You can't point to one.
Zero flies have gotten their legs broken by Antifa.
You can't point me to one Antifa flyer. You can't point me to an Antifa group nowhere. But it's a thing of these like, well, they're looting and blah, 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 blah. It's just like, but they murdered people at this other one. And you're quicker to justify what they did. And I was like, and I told him, I was like, I find it interesting that you're at least bringing up the cause of what led to these people doing this insurrection, because they felt like, and for whatever reason, you think that, oh, you guys are screwed out the election. However, you refuse to acknowledge what led to these protests in some of the riots, even though I still believe that the riots and the protests are two separate things. There are people who take advantage of the protests who they don't care nothing about the cause or whatever. They just see it as, chaos, whatever. And sometimes those riots turn into riots because of forced by the cops, who once again were more forceful against peaceful protesters than they were for people.
Pictures.
Right.
They're taking pictures with these cats in the Capitol.
But I point out, it's like, but you won't talk about what led to those protests. You won't talk about how they keep cutting back our means to vote. How a section with more residents than a rural, mostly predominantly white area, and they both have the same number of voting, polling places. Just like, how is that? You have 700,000 more people in this area than this one, but these people have the same number of, it's just like, shouldn't there be more since there's more people here? And how they keep closing it off, how they keep changing the hours and the times, how they make it more difficult for us to get out and vote. Once they see that when we vote, they lose, they try to make it so that it's even harder for us to vote. And issues with the police. And I saw a video, they arrested these kids for riding freaking bikes. They were on some bikes, they took their bikes, and one of them, I guess, was giving too much lip, and they arrested him. And the lieutenant in the Army who got pepper sprayed, he's talked about how he's afraid to get out the car, and the officer tells him, well, you should be. It's just like, it just that way that they interact with us. That's why we protest. That's why we're upset.
Germaine can attest to this, but we live in another country, right? We've been here for a crap ton of time. The way that we're treated in the States is the same way that immigrants are treated in another country. One of the things that people don't really grasp about, and I tell Swedes all the time, yeah, but it's better than slavery. And we're like, I ain't jack to do with slavery. They always got some kind of BS way. Yeah, come on, what are you talking about? But what I explain to them is that Black Americans, besides Native Americans, we're the only people who never got on a boat and asked to come over.
Right.
We actually, the last Black person to be brought over in the transatlantic slave trade was most likely some of the last were in the 1700s. The majority of white people in America came in the mid 1800s. They can talk about the Mayflower. There ain't that many Mayflower people in the United States. We're not immigrants. It's our country. We've made the country better every step of the way from the beginning. The first person to die when separating from Britain was a Black man. And it keeps going on. The Civil War is acted like we were just sitting there working in fields, and then something popped up and they start shooting each other. We're everything that made the thing possible, and sabotage from our side to make sure that it got possible, and fought to make sure that it got done. So the concept that we didn't help create this, I mean, the Constitution that they so love, a Declaration of Independence that they so love, that was with the brother of the mother of Thomas Jefferson's children standing there, handing him his ink, doing this, making sure this dude with the wig on was good the whole time, but also being the person that he bounced the ideas off. So it's always been us.
I think even just to ball it up from everything that's happening now, especially with the voting restrictions and trying to cut off all of our voting. We as Blacks have fought with this from the 60s to the 70s to the there's never been a point where there hasn't been a fight or a struggle. And Lord knows we just, we are the life of struggles when it comes to almost anything. And now at this point, I think they're calling it now like the Jim Crow 2020 or something like that.
Yeah, the new voting restrictions.
Yeah, with it's like Jim Crow 2020. And it's like, and I think for some people it's like, oh my goodness, but for I think for the majority of Blacks, it's like, okay, here we go again. Especially older Blacks, who are like, I thought we left this. Here we go again. But I feel, as we are as Black Americans, even though it's a rough struggle, and we tired of struggling and we tired of fighting, and we're just gonna keep on fighting. We're not gonna make a pause. We're not gonna make an excuse. We're going to keep on fighting. Just like all that voter turnout from last year. Those are people who wanted to get out there and got out there and voted with the help of everyone out there who was trying to help them go out there and vote. So, those restrictions they will make it harder, but we are resilient people. We are resilient. And I mean, I remember my mom always said that she'd always say it to me, we are resilient. We are resilient. We will always bounce back. We are resilient. And at points that sometimes it's like, well, I don't want to be resilient. I just want to be. But,
I think it's the comfort that we just won't experience anytime soon.
Yeah.
We try to make the changes and be a part of the change that we want to see, but
yeah.
And this country, even though it's built on our backs, like B was pointing out, I mean, and like you were saying also, I mean, it's just being in the middle of everything doesn't mean anything. It's like we're just simply the help. And at some point, you gotta recognize that the help wants to be at least a part of what they've helped build.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the way this country works. You help until you get to a point where you can lead or assist or whatever, and then your voice is supposed to be heard. Mm-hmm. That's supposed to be part of the American dream, but it's just not something that we've been privy to still, and that is so frustrating.
Yeah.
Why can't we give you some input? Why can't we have a voice? Why can't we be okay with us not being able to
mm-hmm.
survive just the everyday life for you? But because you haven't experienced it, you feel like then you just dismissed my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just not okay.
It's just a lot of it. I feel it's just a point of power. It's all about power,
Oh, yeah.
So it's just the heightened of. I mean, I've had people, especially here, like I'd explain something and then they kind of talk over me, and I'm like, excuse me, did you not hear or understand what I said? Oh no, I we just want to re-explain it. No, not necessary. If you didn't, if it doesn't, that just need to be re-explained. And if it does, they can ask me, because you're explaining it wrong anyway, kind of thing. And it's a point of it's a power struggle, and it's not a point of us wanting power. It's them wanting to keep whatever power they have had all this time, and keep us that in our place kind of thing. But that's not going to happen. We've already seen this. That pot has boiled over.
And that's the thing.
Just,
I think that's part of their need to, in a sense, just keep us out of everything, is that
mm-hmm.
they really feel like what we're going to do is we're going to flip the table and we're just going to do to them everything that they did to us. That's not the case. We recognize where y'all were wrong. We recognize what y'all did to us that wasn't right. And we also recognize that we just want to be at the table now, or like Issa Rae is saying now, forget about being at the table, create your own. Right?
And that's what we're doing.
And they don't like that, you know what I'm saying? Because but even in creating our own table, we're just trying to survive. We're trying to build, but I don't have it in my heart the way I was raised. I don't even have the energy to focus on purposely trying to make sure you don't make it because of what you did to me. Like, okay, forget it. You did that to me. I know I can't fool with you, so you're gonna be over there, but I'm gonna build up everything I got going on over here, and I'm gonna go on about my life. Now, if your family or people that you know, if they want to be a part of what I got going on, I'm not gonna hold it to them either, because that was a mistake that you made. I'm not gonna tell them that they can't be a part of this, or I'm not gonna tell them that they're less than because of the mistakes that you made. I'm going to continue building on what I'm doing, and then that's going to be me. That's going to be my legacy. But it's not my focus to make sure that you are oppressed because you oppressed me. I just can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But don't make me continue to feel less than. Don't make me feel like I'm not supposed to be a part of this. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. You know, and so it's just crazy. But that's what it is, though. They really think that if we get some position of power, or if we use our voting power, if we have our people rise up and speak up for themselves, that then we're just gonna make it to like a opposite of the Confederate Party. Ain't nobody. All the black people that I know, everything that they're trying to do is just build generational legacy, build generational wealth. Break the curses and things that held us back from before. Forget all of that. Let's build on something new. And if white people or whoever, if they don't like it, okay, you ain't got to be a part of it. But we still gonna keep on doing what we're doing.
Yeah. That's always been the funny thing. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say that's always been the funny thing to me about so-called supremacy. Is like, how are you inherently better, but you want to make sure that, you know, oh, they're animals, they're this and that, but also don't teach them how to read, don't teach them how to do the math, don't teach them to do the things that I can. But and it's the thing of like, if we are inherently worse than you, then why should it matter? Why are you trying so hard to keep us from even learning or doing things that are the same? Like, if you truly thought that you are, like, what is the benefit of claiming that you're the fastest runner in a room full of people who have no legs? It's just like, oh, it's easy to be the fastest when nobody else can actually compete with you. If you are truly as good as you say you are, then meet me at the same, and then we'll go.
Fall where they must.
And it's just like, but there must be something inherently. You must smell your own BS by the fact that you constantly have to, they always want more, they always want a handout, at the same time forgetting things to where they literally got handout from the banks and the government to go into. It's like, hey, here's the suburbs. You guys get this money to have this house in these neighborhoods. We will give you more money if you don't sell to black people. And then be like, oh, well, look what they're living at. It's just like, because you made it so that our areas didn't have the same resources, didn't have the same money going into it. And then you made it so that we couldn't get into certain positions to even change that. And then when things happen, it's just like, well, you guys need to take responsibility and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's just like, it's easy to say that when you came out, you already had the socks, the boots, the cars. It's just like, and you also had the knowledge of, I wouldn't even say the knowledge of how to do that, because
it was given.
Right. It reminds me of the person who was telling you what to do during a fight. It's just like, well, these guys have guns. It's like, well, put your dukes up. It was somebody who's never been in your situation telling you how to deal with that situation. And we constantly have that from people especially Fox News and this new group Newsmax, trying to tell us how we should deal with the police, telling us how, oh, they should have just did this. It's just like, but we're constantly telling you that even when we do that, it goes left. We're telling you that from the jump, these people who are infinitely more trained than I am are coming at me with a different intent than what they're coming at you with. And you're constantly trying to tell me about how I should deal with this situation without you even trying to understand the inherent difference between our two situations.
They don't want to understand.
Right. It would be like, I don't know if I want to go this far. It would be like us trying to tell a woman, it's just like, oh, well, for your time of the month, you need to do this. It's like the four of us, it's just like, how you gonna tell her what to do? Like, you ain't never. It's like, what? It's like, yes.
What do I need to do?
Right. It's like, yeah. You
now
tell her
you
what
got
she
your
needs to
notebook
do.
out.
Right. It's just like, yeah, you tell her which path to get. Tell her how to figure that out. It's like, well, I'm just saying she needs to. It's just like, shut up. Yeah. It's just like there's too many people who don't know, who don't understand or grasp a situation, trying to tell other people how to handle a situation to where they don't even want to listen to it.
I mean, and that's gonna at this particular point, it's gonna be across the board until someone starts to listen, or until there's another big blow up, unfortunately, and which is what I'm not looking forward to at all, not in the States nor here in Europe or here in Sweden, because they feel they're all into everything here, and I don't know what they feel so connected to the U.S. and I'm like, you don't know how separate y'all are, man. But that's okay.
No, but they're actually. They're not separate.
Huh?
That's what I disagree with. They're not separate.
Okay, my separate might be different from your separate.
And I'll give you an idea. You and I experience racism on a day-to-day basis that is almost identical to back home. In fact, sometimes so comfortable. The stuff is stuff that you would get punched in the face back home with, right? The reason is the selling technique of getting Europeans to come over to the US to fill up the US is that they had to do the same marketing techniques of white supremacy over here that they did in the States. Because you couldn't be a Swede that came over and never met black people before and like, my friend Bob is cool. I don't see what they're talking about. You had to uphold white supremacy in order to be accepted into the concept of Americanism. Now, the best way for people to grasp what they actually went through is what were people from the Middle East in your head before 9/11? What were they seen as? They could be all kinds. They could be rich, like, oh, your dad got oil money, doesn't he? You know what I mean? Whatever. They'd be like, Islam was not seen as inherently bad or anything like that. It was just a beautiful religion, especially Black community. We were like, yo, Malcolm X, all that kind of stuff. We were like, it's a beautiful religion. Like, oh, you're on Ramadan, cool. 9/11 happens, and we got to see a condensed version of what they did to us. I mean, just picture this. When the Ku Klux Klan came around, they didn't even argue that we were lazy people, because no one alive would think that people who worked as enslaved people and propped up America's economy were lazy. Well into the beginning of the 19th century, 20th century, no one would ever believe that we're lazy. It wasn't until Black men got the vote and Susan B. Anthony and the then suffragists turned on Ida B. Wells and the other people, Harriet Tubman, all those people, that they start to craft this story that we're lazy. But then we go in, and this is something that we have felt ourselves. The demonization of Black men always existed in some facet or form. And that's why he looked at a white woman the wrong way. That's why we got to burn down Tulsa. But the concept of a Black kid was never demonized in that same way. It was only a Black man. It wasn't until the war on drugs was started in 1982 by Ronald Reagan, who lied through his teeth so much. Like, you have no clue how much he has destroyed what we know. Those people who ran in on January 6th, they've been lied to since 1979 or whatever, when he started running, right? And so what happened with our generation is we went from being just normal kids to being super predators. We went from being just like, I remember it, 1984, I was in DC for the summer chilling. I could go anywhere. Police didn't do anything to me. Nothing happened. 1986, whole thing flipped. And and I was 11 in 1986. So I went big, whatever. But the day I hit my 6 feet, the entire world inverted on me. And, you know, my family taught me to speak correctly, all this kind of stuff. Like, I was a Cosby kid. You know, I was more Theo than anything else. And the state turned on me, but the state kept turning on me. That was the part that kind of messed with our heads. So when you listen to someone like Biggie, when he talks about suicidal thoughts, all you hear about is that super predator concept mixed with the idealized version of Dr. King. Because we were preached Dr. King, Dr. King, Dr. King. We were told he was just like a perfect person, walking around having a dream. And then he got shot one day by a white dude because he believed in nonviolence. End of story. We weren't told he cheated on his wife. He had a dream to be in as many drawers as possible. We weren't told that he was a full human being. We weren't, and so what we had was either we're a demon or we're a saint. So when you listen to Biggie and he goes, when I die, F it, I want to go to hell because I'm a piece of, it ain't hard to tell. It don't make sense going to heaven with the goody goodies dressed in white. I need black Tims and black hoodies. God'll probably have me on some real strict, no sleeping on days, no getting my lick. You know, like when he's talking about that, he's saying, I'm so wrong, I don't deserve to be alive. Now, if you look at the kids that were our age at that point in time, they had Kurt Cobain. He was just sad because girls didn't like him. He was like, yeah, I did heroin yesterday, but you know, it's just really sad that girls don't like me. And these people were killing themselves over Kurt Cobain. And then if you look at the movies, like that's what we had. We had these beautiful black movies that told us like that O-Dog in Menace to Society was a complex human being and Kane was a complex human being, but it portrayed to white people who have never learned to know us in all this time. When I watched Seinfeld, I didn't think about a white show. When I watched Frasier, I didn't think about a white show. I just saw a show. We've always humanized, speaking to what you're saying, we've always humanized white people the entire time, but they've never taken a moment. And we've been there for 400 years. We didn't show up 5 years ago, but they talk like we did. So in their time period, what did they get? What were those movies and TV shows we were watching? Overweight white dude, daggone gets the model chick by the end of the movie and drives away in a car and he's rich.
Right.
So what does that do to the psyche of these white kids? This is where we go back to January 6th. The psyche of these white kids is like, man, I don't have a model chick. I'm not
old
rich.
This.
Huh? I'm old. I was told I'm supposed to have it.
The entitlement of something that is not earned. But you touched on something that I thought about the other day of when we have our hood movies, it's, they're promoting gang culture. They're promoting this. But everybody loves Godfather. Everybody loves Casino. Whenever there's a gangster movie, like you said, people like Big and whatever, is to think of, they're complex individuals. You don't have to have that breakdown for mobster movies. It's already assumed that they are complex individuals. And even with Paulie stabbing somebody to death with a freaking ice pick, it's not a thing of, there's not a thing to where there has to be a PSA to where it's like, okay, don't don't lift this guy up, even though people, they talk about the performances, whatever. But you have people who rap about something that they're experiencing, that they're going through, and it's like, oh, they're promoting this, they're doing this, and it's just like, well, why can't you look at this as art just as this is art? Why are these people looked at as being, it's okay for them to show their life of crime, and you even glamorize it, but for our thing, it's like, oh, that's why they're just like this, or what have you.
Do you know the beauty of what you just brought up was? In the beginning, in 1930, if you ask somebody if Italians were white people, they look at you like you're crazy. Italians weren't white in 1930. With all that mob stuff that was happening, that's the creation of the police being the militarized force that we had. Do you know what they did in Chicago when they created that? They hired mobsters. Within 10 years, they then turned something where my grandmother, who's about to be 104, she would have actually feared Italians over anybody, since she lived in Chicago and then Detroit during that time period. Was a full-grown adult walking around. These dudes would walk around with Tommy guns, spraying up places, all this kind of stuff. So then they hire former mobsters or mobster associates to stop the mob violence. Within 10 years, they flip it, and they start putting it on us in the 50s. And by the 1960s, they use these former violent felons, should have been felons, and they use them to wipe us up while pulling them into middle class, because being a police officer pulls you from idiot who didn't finish 8th grade or barely has a high school diploma to now you make as much as a doctor. So what they did is they pulled them into that. And at the same time is when the mobster films start coming out, the Hollywood corny ones, the Bonnie and Clyde type joints or whatever, those came out. But what solidified their whiteness was that when they did The Godfather. The Godfather was the switch. And that's what we've never been able to accomplish, because at the end of the day, white people have shown, because you can't do two things. Obviously, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time, is what they're telling me. Because you can't admit it's messed up what you did or what collectively you did, and these are human beings. That's what George Floyd was. It was a 9-minute snuff film that we had to sit around, because all of us remember Rodney King, where they use the defense that he's a big black dude, and if they hadn't continued to beat him, he would have been able to get one of our guns, and then he had multiple targets. So, we're mutants. I mean, they use that against an 18-year-old Mike Brown. Dude said, when I shot him, he got madder and madder each time I shot him.
Dude,
What Marvel film are you watching, bro?
I live in Ferguson. I lived here during all that, and I've seen there are some stores that just got through being rebuilt. I was working at Walmart overnight, and we went from being 24 hours to they had the national. I remember going into work and having the National Guard there because of the protests, and being like, I remember one night they were just like, okay, there's some protesters coming. We're not sure what's going to happen. We need all you guys to come to the back of the store. If something happens, this is where you have to run to. Now, mind you, our cars are parked in front. We're in the very back of the store. And we're just like, so how are we going to get to our cars again? It's like, what's going on?
Go down with the Titanic, son.
Right. It's just like, if so-and-so happens, we're all looking at each other. It's like, man, if something go down, I'm grabbing that PlayStation. It's like, I ain't coming back to work. But it's just that. And it's the thing of, once again, talking about the rioters, there were freaking people from Texas who were up here, had nothing to do with whatever, white dudes with automatic rifles on buildings, whatever, not from here, but like starting stuff. And it gets blamed on us. And all they see is the violence and whatnot. On my podcast, I recently talked about a trial they had, which made me doubt what the verdict of the Chauvin trial was going to be. Luther Hall. He was an undercover black man. He was an undercover detective. Forget his color. He was an undercover detective. He was undercover. He was in some protests. Now, this is not even about Mike Brown. This is about another case into where a cop shot somebody. He had a police officer had an AK-47 with I want to say a drum barrel magazine. So you know that's not issued. And it was a suspected drug dealer. Once again, suspected drug dealer. They chased him down. They shot him. They killed him. The judge said, well, he's a drug dealer, so it's reasonable to think that he might have had a gun. Once again, we're not given the same benefit of the doubt as they are. It's like, well, the gun that I think he might have had is more dangerous than this gun this cop does have. So anyway, they have their trial. Cop gets off. We have protests. There's 4 or 5 cops texting each other. Hey, I can't wait to get out there and bust some heads. Hey, I think something's wrong with me about how much I enjoy beating up these protesters. Oh, we're going to get together. We're going to do this. And lo and behold, they beat up a protester. Little did they know he was an undercover detective. Because I said cop, I'm sorry. He was an undercover detective. His name was Luther Hall. Busted lip, collarbone, tailbone, all this other stuff. They even have texts after that because the FBI were watching them beforehand. They had texts afterwards. They were like, oh man, I didn't know he was a cop. Not that, hey, I'm sorry that we beat on him. It's just that they sorry that they beat on a cop. One of them even tried to go to the hospital to talk to him. And it's just like, and when it was just like, well, Hall didn't think that it was sincere, but I can assure you my client, his apology was sincere. It's just like, so what are you apologizing for? Beating me half to death, or for, in your case, since you said you didn't do anything, not stopping your colleagues when they almost beat me to death? And they got acquitted. It was beginning of April. 3 of them got acquitted. 2 of them had already pled guilty because they just said, forget it. 3 of them got acquitted, and the police department had the nerve to say, hey, he's free to come back to work with his reputation intact. It's like, what reputation do you think he's going to have? Yeah, and so exactly. To me, that made me, I didn't want to be just dour, but that is just like, to me, it's just like, but we have text, we have evidence, we have correlation of A to B. I remember the movie Minority Report, to where they were talking about, stopping crime before it happens. Yeah. To where they had a thing to try to prove their their theory. They had a ball, they rolled it on the thing, and somebody caught it. It's just like, well, why'd you do that? He's like, because it was going to fall. It's like, well, how'd you know it was going to fall? He's like, because I saw it rolling. If I see the text start from here and it's rolling and it gets to here when this thing happened, then tell me how they're not responsible when they already started. Yeah. If it was anything else, they go all the way back. Trayvon Martin was shot. They brought up empty bags of weed to justify why he was shot,
which is legal now everywhere.
Right. Even before it was legal, how many comedies did they have? They had freaking, was it Sharon Stone and Alec Baldwin in a movie joking about being high? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But now it's a death sentence for this kid to have it.
But the thing that they brought up in the trial that really disturbed me, that they didn't really focus on, his in the Chauvin trial. It's not George Floyd's trial. It's the murderer of George Floyd. They said this guy was in fear for his life because he was between 6 feet and 6'6". What? In what world does anyone describe anyone? I'm 6'4", and he was like 6'2", 6'3". But they were like, he was afraid because he was between 6 feet and 6'6". What are we doing? Right. What are we doing? The big black guy.
He was afraid.
Terrifying to me.
He's the black guy. The black guy on the ground, handcuffed, while I'm surrounded by three or four other officers, but I'm still afraid. It's like, if you're that afraid, you don't need to be doing this job.
Yeah.
That's point blank period.
Yep.
If you're that afraid, if the collective group of you cannot take control of this guy, then you don't need, then either the training is wrong or you just suck at learning.
And he was a trainer. He was a trainer. The thing that disturbed me that I didn't know was that when the ambulance got there, he left his knee on him, even asked after being told by the medical professionals for 3 more minutes.
Yeah.
When people say Black Lives Matter, that's what we're talking about. And I can tell you, as someone who lives in Europe, it's the same over here. It is the hardest thing in the world, even with people we know very close. We have to constantly tell them we have the same feelings as you. We have, like, we literally have to do it. Because now what they did is create the pain for us and then use the pain that we strive through to say we don't feel the same pain.
Because that was, I just seen, this is like one of the last things I want to lighten this up. I'd seen, it was a sports guy. I am not all into sports. Obviously a football guy, Shannon something, or I don't know. But
Shannon Sharp.
Yes, see, I knew it was something. And he talked about that because I posted it on my Facebook, I think, and on my stories, because I thought to myself, yes, because that's exactly what we had to do with people like, well, I have Black friends and I have Black friends. And he said,
right.
No. If you're not going to be a part of that, then you just know Black people. Right. You don't have Black friends. And I thought about it and I was like, yeah, because that's what a lot of people I have dealt with. They're like, well, I have a Black friend and I
Germaine and I got a whole country on our back.
It was mad, but that's all right. But I just want to lighten everything. This has been real. You have to come back. This is people, because I was telling you, I've been getting like messages, not even on here. They've been just messaging me directly on Facebook and on Instagram, like, this is good, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, just get in here and watch and stop telling me. But anyway.
Right. Tell them to pull up. We can we can do lighter stuff.
But I'm gonna bring it up to a lighter stuff because I thought about this most of it because this is one of the things I want to talk about because it dealt with music. Because I know all of us are about in the same age bracket with y'all 2017ers and whatever your age y'all want to be today. All right, this is actually a choice thing here. Okay, music wise. I'm gonna ask you first, which one would you take out? And then I'm gonna ask you with those same ones, what order would you put them in? The best being the top and then mark down. So which one of these would you take out?
Here you start us off, man. You ain't been saying that.
Huh?
Now Squid to start us off, he ain't been saying that.
I know, that's true. This is, I noticed that too, Squid. He been learning. He been sitting here like, dang,
I'm a sponge. I'm a sponge. I like to loosen and
he's sponging.
This is your wheelhouse right here, bro. Come on with it.
Here it is. Luther Vandross, Jeffrey Osborne, Peabo Bryson, and James Ingram. Which one will go? Look at your face! Luther Vandross, Jeffrey Osborne, Peabo Bryson, James Ingram. Which
one? He's out to Peabo.
Now you know the question is gonna be: are you talking about Big Luther or Skinny Luther? Like which Luther are you talking about?
Nah,
Luther about the music of Luther. I ain't trying to go there.
Are you talking about dry curl Luther?
I'm talking about no matter where my baby
Luther?
Is. I'm talking
about
all of them.
About Luther is how people talked about he just lives with his friend.
Y'all leave Luther alone now.
I just like we all knew. Why didn't we ever say it while the man was breathing?
Leave him alone now.
He lived with his friend.
His music.
Right. Let that man sing who he wants to sing to. That's a shame that you got to hide who you are. Because if it comes out, I can't listen to it no more. Why not?
That's right.
Just like you could pretend that you could actually sing the song when you're in the car, when you're in the shower by yourself, you could pretend like he's still singing to you.
Yep.
There you go.
We robbed that man of his truth.
DJ?
Right.
Hey, Germaine, I'm finna swap real quick. So
okay. Huh?
I'm
You
just,
swap.
you know, you
This
gonna
ain't swap.
I'm gonna have to say Jeffrey Osborne.
Are you coming back into the room again?
Yeah, I think that's what he said. I think what he's on
That's
is
what he
probably
just said.
battery is
Okay.
low.
I just did.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
So,
Okay. Because I can still hear
Wait,
you.
what? Huh?
You
Oh, you're
joined again.
switching to another one.
I'm switching. I'm turning this one. Let's see. I'm turning my computer up. Yeah.
You go ahead. I'm gonna just go to DJ first. Oh, there you are. Okay. Go on.
It was Jeffrey Osborne.
You take out Jeffrey? Why are you taking out Jeffrey, baby?
Honestly, it was before my time.
Nah. Okay. I ain't gonna say nothing about that now.
I'm keeping it real.
He was doing Disney joints. He was doing them Disney joints.
No, I thought Peebo did the Disney, not Jeffrey.
I grew up with
Most of them
people.
did.
Okay.
Grew up with Luther.
Mm-hmm.
So guess
Jeffrey
who
got to
gotta
go.
go? You know not it.
And what order would you put them in?
Luther.
Okay.
Yep. Saying Luther's the truth.
Luther, and not
Luther's
even
the truth.
Jane. But Peebo and James.
And then Peebo.
Okay. All right. James after that. I ain't gonna. Okay, forget. I ain't gonna try to mess with you no more. D. Who's going?
I already said it.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Peebo was out.
Really?
Yeah.
Peebo was out.
Means nothing to me. And again,
Nothing to
these.
me.
But here's the thing: if you were talking about Jodeci, New Edition,
That's next
that
time.
type
Those
of
are
stuff,
groups, so that's next time. I couldn't talk about it.
But well, I'm just saying, like,
No.
well, if you want that, then y'all should have brought up Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, that type of stuff. Like, you know, I'm very young as a 26-year-old, so you know, these dudes had dry Jerry curls when it was over in the 90s. So I just thought they were whack walking around with their, you know, like they had like the performance outfits on. It just wasn't my
the
thing.
Steve Harvey collection.
Shut.
Before the
Combing their mustache.
Right. With that perm, just like your hair. You didn't come out the womb with that hair. Burnt your scalp trying to get that.
All right,
Just saying,
Carl.
I'm being real. I'm being real.
All right, Carl. Who you picking?
It was right. Just had that. Just so okay. There was Luther, Peebo, Jeffrey Osborne, who was
and James Ingram.
I think I have to take out Osborne because I kind of for the same reason as Squid. Not it's like I recognize some of his songs, but when I think about the songs of the people that I'll be like, okay, I didn't grow up in their time, but I'm going to look for their music because their music is a staple. Because when I tell you there's more music that I listen to was before my time that is like current. So many times people tell me about current music and be like, are they current? Or they just, it's like, oh yeah, it's a new person. It's like, oh, I don't know about them. I don't listen to the radio. I listen to podcasts and songs that I've already listened to growing up. Just being in the car with my mama on Saturdays, putting on,
He was in
R&B
LTD.
music. Said what?
He was in LTD.
He was?
The group.
Oh, that's right. He
LTD.
was.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Osborne.
I had to look him up for a second because I was just trying to make sure.
Right. It's like when I looked at his, I was like, I know the name. It's like on the Wings of Love. I'm like, oh, I can leave him.
I can do without it. I can do
without
it.
But I have to say Luther, Ingram, and people like you said. I'm looking at people. It's just like he did a whole new world. I can't leave a whole new world.
That was my childhood.
What?
And he did Beauty and the Beast.
I agree with that.
Right.
Jeffrey Ingram got the boot. I don't even know that dude. He can move on with his life.
Y'all Y'all said your piece about Jeffrey. I put him in there, figuring he in that same genre. I'm going to Kevin now. All y'all with your attitudes. Kev, what you saying?
Thank you for bringing me to the light.
I like Mr. Ingram. I like him.
I like Ingram too.
Yeah. Okay. So who did the woo 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 song? Who did that?
The woo woo woo.
Can you woo woo? That's Jeffrey Osborne, right?
That's Jeffrey Osborne. That's Jeffrey Osborne.
Okay. That's before my time. I'm sorry.
I'm trying. You would know the song. Now you be doing old school mixes now. Come on now.
I know.
Okay. So
that was a dope song. I ain't gonna lie.
Huh?
I said that was a nice song. I'm not gonna lie, but
he's still on the curb though. For me.
Yeah. He could. Hopefully, somebody will pick him up while they drive by. Can you woo woo? Just
put that song. So I'm trying to figure that out though. Okay. So see, I'm trying. What else? So I'm gonna have to get. I don't know.
Get the turnaround song with LTD.
Okay, you getting rid of Jeffrey apparently.
Yeah,
Jeffrey's out.
James Ingram. Huh? Because then I think of James Ingram and I'm thinking of wasn't he on Secret Garden?
Yes, he is.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, he is.
So James Ingram,
right.
You.
Yes,
and the fact that he was included in song, right?
So
I'm gonna get rid of Jeffrey.
100 ways.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna be there.
I'm gonna be there with yes. Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna
get
rid of yeah, but definitely top of the list is gonna be Luther. Okay, so I'm gonna go Luther, James Ingram, and then Peabo.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be my order. That's gonna be my order.
Cool.
I'm glad y'all joined the group.
Right. Well, no, I think.
You're right.
I think Luther. We need to come up with somebody besides Luther because Luther is just smashing everybody. I don't think there's anybody who's just like Luther's number 2. It's just like what? Leave the group right now
over
just
everybody.
Right.
They were all around the same time period. You know, we know, right. But Luther came from a backup singer to a lead singer. Never got the props he should have gotten until way in there. And because everybody knew Luther.
I listen to Luther right now. I don't know anybody with that type of trouble in their voice. Period.
Man,
the only difference is that Luther, it was like they started off at the same point, but Luther kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See.
And it's this thing. Luther made a song talking about I just want to dance with my father again, and just have dudes just up there. I miss my daddy, man. Just like,
yeah.
It's like that's the dope
the Janet
song.
Joint too.
Right.
Because I was like 17 when that Janet joint came out. Killed it.
And wasn't it?
Because when I was little, Luther was kind of boring to me because I didn't like slow songs because I was 8. After a while, I was like, yo, this is hot.
So amazing.
The other people that we mentioned, aren't they still alive?
I want to say yeah.
No, James died.
Oh, okay.
James died, I think, a year or 2 ago.
Damn.
I think
the
rest of and Luther's dead. I don't know about Jeffrey Osborne.
Yeah. Oh, James died recently. Yeah, he died.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a couple of years ago, and Luther died.
Yeah. Like I said, though, even as long as it's been since Luther passed, he's still.
Yeah, Jeffrey Osborne's still alive. He's on the curb by himself.
Holding that thumb out.
That sounds so
right.
That sounds so disrespectful.
I'm just saying, he's alive. At least we're talking terrible about.
So somebody will pick him up.
Yeah, he'll be all right. He can go ahead and give his second-rate singing.
Now, okay, I do have a question for D when he talked about somebody who I feel like never got the props that they deserve, or who currently doesn't get the props that they deserve, who I think would be an even bigger star. I won't say bigger star than they are now. Would be more, and they've talked about it. Ruben Studdard. Ruben had a great first album, and he even talked about his second album was the gospel album, and he talked about how
who the dude is. I bet.
See, and that's
wasn't even like
I think he won an American Idol, right?
Yeah, he won American Idol.
Dude.
He won.
Yeah.
And
I have no
he is the
I have no
closest thing. He is the closest thing you're going to get to Luther.
He did have.
He's the big dude because he even did a cover of
but
Luther's
he's
song.
mimicking. I remember him a little bit. He was mimicking Luther, and finding your own voice is what makes you special. Luther found his own voice. That dude right now, we can put him on Shivers, the whole nine. I'm sitting there hugging my wife. Whatever Luther tells me to do, I'm doing that.
Creep. I'm hearing creep right now. Creep.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been bumping here lately. I've been bumping "House Is Not a Home." That that song right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man. It's different now, doesn't it?
Oh,
right.
It's now, doesn't it?
Way
different. Superstar.
Yep.
Superstar.
Don't you remember your
There you go.
Have a grown man up here crying. Like you said, you love me. You just go
ahead.
You know who I'm gonna give props to though, groups wise?
There you go, man. Go ahead.
Little brother said one little thing that sticks in my head. Back when Jodeci was out, it was a normal thing to see a car full of dudes bumping Jodeci.
Yep.
It was normal. I used to roll with my boys, pulling up on campus. We had that preening.
Talking about some come and talk to me.
Yeah, come and talk to me.
Did Jodeci also do see this is that Stevie Wonder?
Oh,
it's
K.C. and JoJo.
That's K.C. and JoJo. Lately.
Yeah. That's from Jodeci.
Yeah, that's Jodeci. That was K.C. and JoJo.
But I'm
baby.
Yep.
K.C. and JoJo.
These dudes, 94. It was normal to see dudes, thugged out dudes driving past. We got going Jodeci singing along.
Right.
Dudes in the car.
That's it.
Yeah. So props to them.
Blackstreet.
Blackstreet. You know what? I would never want to be. I would never want to be the other two people in the 4-band group. Because you think about Jodeci, K.C. and JoJo. Who's the other two dudes?
Devontae. He's the whole thing.
Yeah,
right.
Devontae's the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's what was it? What is it? Jagged Edge, the two twins,
and that was it.
Two twins, and that was it.
The other dude would just be back there hollering sometimes.
You got Drew Hill.
Right. Drew Hill was
always respect those dudes because Tito is the only one with his real nose.
Oh wow.
Randy ain't got his real nose.
That's messed up. That's
none of them have their real nose. None of them have. These dudes are permed up to this day. I don't know what's going on with Germaine, bruh.
Even the kids are like that. That's messed up. That's messed up. But that's your flex. It was like, okay,
crazy.
It's like Tito. Ain't nobody talking to you. It's like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can do this. Do this. Can you do this? No, you can't do this.
Nope.
Yeah. So I respect people that play their part. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Luther has won that battle. And James is coming.
Crushed.
James taking him
he didn't win. He crushed. There's no competition.
It's Luther and everybody else.
And everybody else. This is true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
rest of the whole Luther's bag.
I give you my top 5.
Dialogue.
That's another cool thing about those groups where it was like the Supremes. It's just like there's the main person and then everybody else. It's just like I got a name too. We can't come up with a group. Like we can't come up with a group name for everybody.
Me and them. That's the name.
And spell it MM and them.
The Pips ain't well. Got fired. Someone else replaced him, and then someone else came back in. The Pips ain't well. Gladys Knight is the truth. Play your part.
I know that feeling.
Yep.
And that switch around. I know that feeling.
Yep. Oh yeah. Hey, she got pips.
I got pips.
She got pips.
I got pips in my band. Oh, I had
pips.
pips in my band. Oh gosh.
She did have pips.
But you know,
I go to see her perform, be like,
who that?
Hello, bass player.
Bass player been steady. My boy been steady.
He be like, my name is don't even share it with me, bro.
No, my bass player is steady. That's my brother. That he been my rock.
I'm sorry, rhythm guitar man.
That's a
yeah.
That was a different issue.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I never asked his name.
We've remedied that situation.
There we go.
We still have our.
I'm still wait a while, about a year and a half, before I actually ask him his name.
We have a key. We now have a keyboardist. I'm happy now. I'm really happy. I was like, keyboard, and he could play it behind all. So,
there you go.
Yay! So the combo.
Hey, can I come play the cowbell?
Sure enough. There can never be more. You can never have enough cowbell. There's never enough cowbell. No, we steady now. We record.
I'll be the tambourine player. Just
there you go. Yeah.
Oh, hold on now.
Please, because
sexual
they keep
chocolate, everybody. Sexual chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
sexual chocolate.
We sang Freedom a few times at some stuff, and they were like, Germaine, you can do the tambourine. I'm like, you want me to sing and keep rhythm on the tambourine? I ain't got that kind of speed there. I got too much to do.
I got you.
I was like, somebody take this tambourine.
Cowbell will hook you up.
Thank you. Yeah. So now I can sing Freedom with free hands. But no,
she definitely has pips. That was the point of the story. She got pips.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
They're my pips, and I love them.
The man and the
pip. My damn pips. Ain't nobody taking my pips. They mine. People tried too. I was like, who are you talking to? You are not talking to him. You need to back away.
Going nowhere.
No, well, no, they knew they weren't going there because they were like, Germaine. I was like, who, what? You know? Okay. Here's one. I just got one more last thing. It has to do with food. Since pretty much y'all gonna be hungry now because some of it's lunchtime for most of y'all. And your choice of foods. There's only two choices. Barbecue spare ribs, fried chicken.
Oh, you are no. That's
fried chicken. I don't eat pork.
What were the choices again?
Barbecue spare ribs,
barbecue,
and fried chicken.
Now, I'm a connoisseur of the air fryer now.
Yo, I've been telling my wife about the air fryer. Please tell me about this, man.
The last time I was on, Germaine, remember we was talking about the air fryer.
Yeah, I don't have an air fryer.
Cook everything in it.
Somebody needs to teach me. Tell me, DJ.
Fried chicken.
No, wait, DJ got some lessons to teach.
I made fried chicken in this air fryer.
Watch so you can hear about the air fryer. Go ahead.
He can't even get it out. He like air fryer.
I'm just saying. In a home, you gotta have arguments. Sometimes my arguments don't always pass through. My wife, she looks at me sometimes, and I'll be like,
"Bring her on."
I got a good point, and I put a lot of work into this. So I want to hear someone else explain the beauty of the air fryer. Please, I'm gonna go ahead and mute it right now. Go ahead.
So the one I got, it's the Instapot air fryer. So all I have to do, it's an Instapot. But anyway, the air fryer, you just put it in there. You do all the regular stuff you do to fried chicken, seasoning, coat it, whatever you need to do. Put it in the air fryer, 20, 25 minutes. Man, it's look, man.
Oh Lord, look at you.
I'm telling you.
I felt that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please.
And you don't have to put any oil in there. It's
Right.
Yeah.
It just fry like that.
Just fry like
Just fry like that.
See, that's like, but to me, I mean, I'm not knocking the air fryer. I'm just looking at my counter space because I just got rid of a rice cooker. I gave to my brother at the base. I gave it to him. I said, you can take this because I don't need this much rice. I don't need a rice cooker. I want some more counter space. I need space to put like the mixer and the flour when I bake. And then when people kept talking about this fryer, I'm like, I want a fryer. But do I want to give up my counter space?
Exactly.
I've got a space for it.
You do. You want to give it up. You do.
Yeah.
It's that good.
It depends on which one you get. Now, my mother-in-law has one that's bigger. So it has like the door that flips down and you can actually like, it's got different
it's the toaster oven size one.
Yeah. And it's just, man, you can make like a full meal in there. I got what I thought was the bigger one. It's an XL, but it actually doesn't it doesn't do as much. So it's like if I'm gonna do like a lot of chicken or something, I gotta time it right because I'm gonna have to do 10 minutes on one side, flip it over, do 10 more minutes, and that might be about 4 or 5 pieces. So like if I'm cooking for everybody, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna have to give myself an hour and a half to make sure I got enough. So that's my only drawback. If you're gonna getting, go ahead and get the biggest one. Just gonna do that.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with this.
I just want to say that I appreciate you, black man, out here telling the truth. My wife is listening right now, so
get the air fryer.
Get that air fryer. Yeah,
he was right.
Thank you. Just want to. I didn't say it. Truth came out.
Yeah. Black men be telling the truth. That's what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now y'all gonna pick the fried chicken or the barbecue spare ribs?
I already picked it with this whole air fryer.
As my wife looks at me and rolls her eyes, burns a hole through my head.
Get out of here!
What?
Which one you pick, Kevin?
I for the sake of health, I would say
no.
Chicken,
which one you want? No. See, that's that extra, Kevin. That's that extra thinking. Remember, I talked about that earlier. The extra thinking. This ain't about that. This is what you want.
Okay. So my weakness is ribs. I'm sorry, that is my weakness. If I got to cook them myself, if it's 2 restaurants, they side by side, and I got the money for both of them, I'm probably gonna get the ribs. I just love some ribs. I'm raised in the South like that. We love us some ribs.
Okay. I understand. I understand your rib, but what she said, it was a spare rib.
Yeah, spare ribs,
right?
Yeah.
That much meat. That's all you're gonna get.
Well, it depends on what. Okay, well, aren't all spare ribs? Well, no, okay. I should have just said ribs.
There's different.
So you can pick what type of ribs.
You can't remix. You can't remix.
Because you know why? Listen to me. Because you know why? Because here in Sweden, we have ribs, and they have the thin ribs, which is I guess the spare ribs when we have in the U.S., and then they have the thick ribs, which is still pork. It's not beef ribs, because I think thicker ribs in the States are beef ribs.
Beef ribs are illegal here.
No,
I don't get to live my best life.
But I'm saying, I didn't know they were illegal. I just know the thick ribs.
Wow.
The thick ribs here are pork. All the ribs here are pork. They're not beef.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were illegal.
I did not know
so
they
when
were
I go
illegal.
back to the States, I get ribs because I can eat beef, but I don't eat pork.
Oh, I'd be carrying up some pork.
Is it
Yeah, G, what's your choice?
Me?
I grew up vegetarian because I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. And so when you grow up vegetarian, pork is not the thing for a lot of people. Your stomach can't handle it. It doesn't work. I probably had pork once in my life.
Wow.
It was not good.
So you never had the deliciousness of bacon.
What up, Daniel?
No, not at all. Turkey bacon.
Man, that ain't the same.
Okay, as somebody who
I don't know
eats
what
turkey
you ate.
bacon, my son loves. I don't know if everybody can hear my son. That's why I have to keep getting up and running off because he chooses to do stuff now.
That's all right.
So I have to.
That's okay.
Weren't you joking your
I am
boys
not
out?
a turkey bacon person. I
Weren't you
want
joking
bacon.
Kevin a little while ago?
I'm still gonna mess with Kevin,
Wait.
but no.
Nah, I remember. Hey, Kevin, I got your back. Like your boy was out there talking about your son just running stuff, and then now he's like, "Let me go ahead and mute this real quick."
Because I don't want get down. I don't want to do that. Hold on. We not gonna act like you work there too. Did you say something about comparing foreheads? Did you say that? Is that you?
Did you say something?
I love Sade. Sade is my favorite of all time. I kicked Luther out of a running train for Sade. Sade is everything.
Oh,
Dag.
Wow.
And that's why you shot her.
Sweet ass taboo.
And that's why you shot her, because you love her so much.
I love her.
Oh, bet that I'm gonna get a mix in a minute. Okay, so I guess D is fried chicken. DJ fried chicken all the way. Yep. Kevin is a little bit torn. You seem torn,
but I'm ribs.
Put me down for ribs. Okay. Can I give you some?
But, yeah, go ahead.
Now, if it was a spare ribs and they were regular, beef ribs, then I will pick the beef rib.
Okay.
But since you gave me the spare rib, guess what I got to do?
I understand.
I would too.
No, I understand. I because I've been here so long, I totally forgot that there is a difference until I started talking about it. So yes, I understand your choice. I understand your choice.
But what was your choice, Jermaine? What was yours? See?
She was like, "Oh my life."
I had to fight for some chicken and barbecue ribs and to make the choice of kill me.
Never gonna make the choice over chicken again.
I would take the fried chicken. I fried some darn good chicken, and I would, if I had them both in the freezer. Well, I have ribs and chicken in the freezer right now. I plan to fry me some chicken wings up because it's just like there are things I don't have them often. When I do, my first choice is chicken. So fried chicken.
Now that we're getting air fryer
chicken, air fryer.
There you go.
Get that air fried chicken is good.
Now that we're getting the air fryer, thank you, love.
Well, I'll be over your house and I will try the air fried chicken with you, D.
I'm gonna do because I'm gonna do buttermilk fried chicken.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I do beer.
That's
beer
good.
batter?
Huh? I do beer
batter chicken.
Beer.
And for those who
what
made
it's dipped 3 times.
Oh, that sounds good.
That's why it's crunchy.
I like the way he looks back.
I like the.
He look back. Are you listening? Are you listening to this?
I like to eat. I'm sorry, y'all. I like to eat.
See, that's when y'all get a chance and the earth opens up and the world opens up again and travel becomes a little more safe. Y'all got to come over here. Me and D, we gonna do a whole thing. He gonna have his air fryer. I'm gonna have the oil.
See, and for those who may be in Stockholm as you, or some people who over in the States who don't understand the importance of seasoning. You don't just dip and then put the coating on and throw it in there. You got to season that mug.
Child, let me tell you something.
The spices. There are people who have figured this stuff out thousands of years ago.
Come on, preacher.
It's not just for decoration.
Yo, when I first came over here, I went to London first. And bruh, when I eat in London, like 2-3 meals, I was like, I'm a starve in Europe. And I got over here, and I'll give Swedes props because they actually have more spicing, and it's very rare that you get bland anything here.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
And they're dope with fish. With fish, they kill it. Like, they're really good with fish, and they have different types of uses of fish that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
One of the things we have, which I love, is caviar. But it's not caviar like the way you think of caviar. It's in a tube, and you put it on like your breakfast.
You like the
I love
omelet?
caviar.
The
I
paste?
love it. It's like
They did a commercial about it, and they went to LA to do the commercial. I think Tahir was in one of Tahir is in one of those commercials. You see how nasty it was for him? That's how nasty it is for us. I don't know what's up with Dean's tongue.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. My wife
had it one time. That's all I needed to prove myself that I was not going to have that again.
Let's
Hello.
not. Hi.
Hi.
My baby girl,
What's your
wanted to say hi.
Hi.
What's your daughter's name?
Kennedy.
How are you doing, Kennedy? I have a cousin named Kennedy. How you doing, Kennedy?
You want to see how much fun your daddy was having?
How old are you?
12.
Wow.
Wow. That's
awesome. Girl. Girl power. You hear that, D? Girl power.
I would say, Kennedy, awesome. you did a lot better job of finding where the camera was than your brother did earlier. You came right in, you found the camera, and you was just...
You slid over next to Daddy, so you'd be a little closer to him because you knew you'd be in camera view. You know what to do, Danny. Go ahead, Kennedy.
Kennedy, can you do me a favor? Your dad is a cool dude. I have no doubt that he's a great dad and a good person. He's trying hard to provide for you and your family, do whatever. Don't let your brother beat up your daddy. Can you do that for me? If you can, when you see him in the corner, just
we like him.
I just want you to scream at the top of your lungs, "Daddy, no!" And then, hopefully that'll jumpstart. But just protect Black daddies. Do a hashtag. Hashtag for me. I'm not on Facebook, but can you?
There we go.
Because we need him. I need it too. My son is 6, and he don't know his strength. He'll choke the hell out of me, and I don't know what's going on. He'll just be. It's like
things start dimming. He'd be like,
right. I got it. I'm up here tapping. He don't understand the tap. He just thinks it means more. I'm like, no, it don't mean more.
Choke harder.
Right. But protect your daddy. Protect your daddy.
Protect Black daddies.
Yeah. If something happens to him, let him use your makeup so that he can cover all that up. I know he's bruised easily, so we just want to make sure. Somebody got makeup. She knows somebody with some makeup.
She has lip gloss. Yeah. And that is all we're going to share with him, right, Kennedy? That you have lip gloss. And that's it.
He has lip gloss. I'm not going to use that though. I don't.
You can use that. It's getting kind of dry and cold down there. The lips may just need, put some shine in there.
Carmex, baby. No lip gloss.
Show them. Be the only firefighter up there. Just get off the truck with the fire. Just lips just shining. They just got you on top of the truck, just spinning in circles, just with your lips just shining.
No, splits, you be all smooth. They be asking you, what you use on your lips, man?
You don't know about this. That beeswax. This what you got right there.
That's shea butter.
You just got a flashlight just right up under your face, like wee.
There you go.
Reflecting the siren off the light off my lips. Come on now.
Go.
Okay, since y'all were talking about music, I'm gonna throw up one more music. I can't believe we are almost on here for 3 hours, and I'm having so much fun. But I'm just gonna keep it just a few more minutes longer.
Yeah, I gotta because I want to get before 9.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then you need to answer this one quick then.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna pull these off the top of my head too. And okay. The names that come on my head now are Whitney, Sade, Mariah, and Stephanie Mills.
Guess which one I'm going to say?
Oh, no.
Stephanie. There's a bus station over there.
Okay, take out Stephanie. Wait, take out Stephanie. Okay, Beyonce. I'm throwing in Beyonce. Sorry. I'm putting Beyonce.
Beyonce?
I forgot somebody.
She's not in the same class.
Nope.
You can't put her in there.
But there's no one in the same class. So, I mean.
You got to at least put someone
All right,
who started in the time. Beyonce was literally like born when some of these people dropped.
This is
because I remember 1985 sitting at the barbershop, seeing Sade and realizing this is the woman I was gonna marry. And my wife knows she's sexy.
All right, then those three. I'll just use those three: Sade, Mariah, and Whitney.
Peace out, Mariah.
Out.
Yeah.
Peace out, Mariah.
No, but Mariah would understand this. Whitney has the greatest voice of the 20th century. Whitney has straight up the greatest voice of the 20th century. Like old school jazz women would actually say that about her. They weren't even they didn't grasp like, how do you go from here to there? Like, you know this, you're a singer. When you listen to how effortlessly she can go different octaves, because Mariah will actually do stuff like she can do it, but she reaches for it and then moves around, and then she gets to it. Whitney goes from here to there with no problem. So Whitney is the greatest voice of the 20th century. But Sade and I have been married since 1985, so I mean.
Other person I say you could have included is Anita Baker.
Anita.
Now, that being said, you still getting rid of Mariah though, because then you have,
I'll take Anita out.
For me, it's Whitney, then Sade, then Anita. Sade and Anita would bounce between 2 and 3 though. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, just like with Luther,
I'm not here.
Whitney is like the greatest voice of the time.
Yeah.
You go, D?
No, I mean, you sitting there talking about my wife like that. I mean, not my real wife.
Sorry.
My fake wife.
Sorry. And now, okay, but if you talk about musically though, Sade only has how many albums? Anita has more albums. She doesn't have, neither one of them is just out there like that now. How many albums Sade got?
What?
Sade's last album was a couple years ago.
Yeah. What are you talking about, bro?
I'm saying how many albums did Sade have?
Kind of disrespectful stuff is coming out of your mouth.
I said how many albums
Sade has.
Hey, y'all better hold me back.
Oh Lord!
You know, I'm sitting there talking how many albums you got?
She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. I think I count 8. I'm trying not to.
They took some breaks because she understood that she needs some time with her daughter. Now
and
y'all
I get
have me
that. All I'm saying
the
is
color behind me because I'm angry. Trying to
get you.
Let me see. I'm just trying to get an understanding. Is all I'm saying.
It looks. The thing about Sade is like
got about 6 albums.
Big breaks. She takes big breaks.
You making excuses
so that's
for
why bounce back and forth between 2 and 3
excuses. So what?
That's why they bounce back and forth between 2 and 3 for me because they, you know. But all I'm saying is Whitney's number 1. Period. So.
Voice wise, she's number 1. Album wise, Sade got her just mollywopped.
Boy, if you don't go to bed.
Mollywopped. Hey, Kevin and I, you know, we were building a relationship.
And apparently y'all need some glue for them bricks.
No, we weren't.
Y'all need to mix that cement better. Because it's getting watery. Them bricks are sliding.
I love the black look.
So I got you, bro.
I love the black look that every black man has where somebody say something be like, he's like, he talking to you? He talking to me.
Bro.
he stopped drinking. He was like, hold on, my headphones ain't working.
Nah,
I think my headphones messed up because I thought he said something. I saw his mouth move.
Nah.
I like Sade. I love she, but
Love,
Right.
love.
I
I'm
hear a
going
butt
to
coming.
go with Whitney first
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
because of all of the versatility.
Yes.
So
I mean, Whitney
in
is the best singer
yeah, that
of the 20th
versatility
century.
of each of
Thank you.
of all of her albums. There's at least versatility. I mean, Sade, gorgeous, lovely music. I can listen to her music without her voice because it's just got that mellow thing
That vibe.
happening. Yeah,
That
it just
vibe.
got that
Yeah.
total vibe
I
happening.
guess it's
Great.
just a podcast between DJ Squid and Carl Leggett. Because everybody else dead to me in this joint. Go ahead.
To be on the safe side, I'm going to put Sade at the top.
Thank you.
And then
So I'm
Whitney
talking about
Houston number
favorite
2.
DJ of all time. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, now you're gonna kiss butt? Oh,
Right.
look at you.
You know what?
By the
Thank
way,
you.
Carl, you got the best podcast of all time.
But thank you. Hey, I'm gonna claim
This American Life thought they had it. It ain't got back on you.
I
Go ahead.
heard.
Because, us three in this podcast are doing great. Go ahead.
I
He
won't
said,
go
y'all-
ahead no more.
He said, y'all on the side of the road with old dude just be loaded. Jermaine City and Kev got the light on his lips. They just trying to find a road back on the podcast.
Get off the list. Come on now.
That's all right. That's all right. Me and Kev, we gonna go with our ribs and our fried chicken. We're gonna be on our way. That's all right. That's all
At
right.
least we ain't gonna be hungry.
There you go. That's right. Shoot.
That's cool. That's
You
all
gonna
right.
get some tater salad? Not grandma made it, not your auntie, not the neighbors.
Okay,
yes.
you ain't gotta ask no questions like who made this? Who made this? Your auntie. Was she drinking?
Who has had the tater salad with cashew nuts?
Ew.
I have not.
I don't know.
I'm not much.
I'm not big on potato salad. Sorry.
What?
You just haven't had the right potato salad.
That's always the answer. That is always the response. You just haven't had the right one.
Hey,
When
Kev,
you have
where
the
are you?
right potato salad.
Kev, where are you?
Huh?
Where are you?
I'm in Arkansas,
What part of Arkansas?
Little Rock.
Oh, man.
Don't say it with such disgust, man. Come on. I'll say this. I had a coworker who made he made it with Hidden Valley Ranch, the season. So that was decent. But overall, I'm just not a potato salad person. I'm just not.
You obviously come from one of them runny families.
I gotta go.
Okay, no, wait, okay, no. Okay, now we're gonna try another salad now. How about who here is a coleslaw person?
I love coleslaw.
Coleslaw.
You gotta hit me on the right day. I can take it, but take it or leave it.
Okay,
Nah.
coleslaw.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Okay, that's cool. Now, who has had that experimental person come bringing it over with raisins?
Nah.
And
Nah.
almond slithers.
Nah.
I don't
No.
experiment.
I'm
That
telling
don't
you.
even sound good. Slithers. If what you got is called slithers, I don't want that near my food. Nothing that slithers. I want nothing. I eat slithers. Chicken don't sliver. No, the turkeys don't sliver. Beef don't sliver. None of that slivers.
Now, I'll try it. I'll try it once.
Okay.
That's it.
Good for you.
Yeah, really.
I just want to point out while we're sitting there talking about food that we need to bow down to the greatest food of all time, which is Mexican.
Mexican
Murders everything moving. It is above all. I mean, hey, I love soul food. I love everything about it. But Mexican is so diverse and so perfect. Plus, they make foods that you can walk around, eat, and keep working. Like that right there is just
everything is handheld. Yeah.
Mexicans above everything.
I got nothing for that. That Mexican, I will, and you know what? You say that I'll eat Mexican pretty much anytime.
Me,
And
I can eat it all. I can eat a breakfast burrito and just rock it from there on. It's a wrap. The Mexican needs to get its props. In fact, I plan to go to Mexico when the world stops being insane, just so I can go from north to south and just try the regional dishes. Because I remember one thing about Cali is if you grew up like I did in the East Coast, South, and Midwest, the first time you have a burrito and it's that corn made burrito, you're like, y'all been lying to me the whole time.
That corn tortilla, you mean?
Corn tortilla, bruh.
Yeah.
Changed my life. I was like, what have I been doing with my life up until this point? Yeah. And then I go back and Taco Bell's giving me these flour tortillas and
I've actually, and I went to Mexico. And
really?
the only thing, I've been to Mexico. This is like I think after high school or something like that, I went on a trip to Mexico, me and my girlfriend. The one thing I can actually say to you is when you do go take your trip to Mexico and they give you a little bowl and it's going to be clear and it's going to have things in it that look like salad and it's going to be this little thing, looks like an onion, like a white onion. It's not a white onion. It's a pepper. Don't eat it.
Ooh, I'll be all right.
Is a ghost
I'm
pepper?
about that life.
It might be. I don't know. I bit it and whole. I was the second time. That was the second time I've ever bitten into a pepper not knowing it was a pepper. The first time was I was like 12, and my mother had a Scotch bonnet and a big old pot of beans, and put the bad boy in my bowl. I thought it was a regular pepper, like a regular, I bit it.
This is getting you back.
Whole side of my mouth was numb for like 2. What? Whole side of my mouth was numb for like 2 days. I was like, Mom, and she's like, well, I didn't tell you to eat it when you put it in my bowl. Do you ever question your mother when she puts food on your plate? Did you ever question her? Okay. I'm like,
well, I mean, you questioned yours, obviously. You told us that at the beginning. But
yeah, we heard about that. Like,
I know, but this is before I questioned it.
Talking about
this is before the questioning.
My grandmother was about to come from the grave and smack the crap out of me.
My life flashed before my eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is before the questioning. I was older when I did the questioning about asking her sorry. When I was 11 and 12, I was like, okay. She fed me rabbit, did not know. I went to the store, went to Gal's.
Rabbit is good.
She bought it, and I looked at it, but my mind kept registering it was chicken because of how it looked, but I kept thinking that is not chicken. She cut it, fried it like it was chicken, gave me a piece of it, and I'm eating it like this is not chicken. And then she told me it was rabbit, and I felt so hurt. It was good.
Rabbit is good.
But I did not.
So is alligator. Alligator is good, though it tastes like fish. Fish taste to it.
Okay. I can understand that.
I want to go back to, I've been to New Orleans since I was 10, but I want to go back there because I want to mess with their stuff because they get down.
I like some cake.
They get down. Yeah,
I like some.
They get down. Yeah.
Well,
they do.
I gotta go. I gotta take my daughter to a test.
Already missed it. So. There you go.
You got it.
Yeah, man.
We'll see you tonight, right? Awesome.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Tonight is the what is it?
Ladies
Kevin
night?
Stage, Ladies Night.
Kevin, keep your distance.
Keep your distance comedy is free.
It's free. Just register.
It's free. Yeah. All you have to do is register, and it comes on at 4 a.m. in the morning for us, D.
Well, Kevin.
There's a 72-hour link, so you can replay.
You can rewatch it.
Yeah. I was cool with Kevin until he started talking about Sade. So I'm moving on for Kevin.
No, not this.
Not me.
Not this Kevin. Talk about Kevin Talking about keep your distance comedy with Kev on stage. It was Ladies Night tonight.
I'll check it out, man. I'll check
Tons of comedy. But I'm so glad to have you. I'm so glad that you guys were here with me today. This was so
appreciate you having
much fun.
Thank you.
And yes, I want to do this again because you guys are amazing as I don't know what could be more amazing than y'all. I've had a great evening. Like I said, we gotta do this again. I mean,
Yeah.
I had so much
Hey,
messages coming in
Squid.
talking about, ooh, all men, and I'm like, but y'all can make your comments on the wall. Y'all ain't got to do it directly to me. But I'm so glad, like I said, to have y'all here.
Why Squid looks like a Cash Money poster?
Huh?
Hey,
Trying something new. Leave me alone. But y'all, I'm glad you were here with us tonight. We had a great time. We was laughing, learning, and laughing some more. And now we know none of us will have slithers of comments in any of our food. But you guys hang out.
Germaine.
Y'all take care. Behave yourselves. And I'll see you one or 2 weeks on Zoomin. Okay?
Thank you. Bye.
All right, appreciate it.
You tell them bye.
Bye.
Black and proud.
Bye.